Okay. Now, after all that, we're here. Did that confuse you, peanuts out there?
Well, it confused us.
We're all blaming one person.
Yeah. Guess who's not here?
Makes it easier that way.
Well, traditionally, this is how it works. Whoever isn't there gets the blame.
Yeah.
That's right.
They can't defend themselves then.
Correct.
It's only fair.
It's only fair to blame the one who isn't there to defend themselves.
And I'll be quite not candid, I'll be a bit discreet with Alan when I speak to him. I'll say, Alan, when I did all that moving of my files from where it moved to all the video files and all that and the media files, would that have affected anything else that I do?
Would that have any knock-on effects, any repercussions anywhere? Just asking out of interest, you know. You know, for future reference.
Yeah, for future.
Or in other words, what did we screw up?
I cannot tell why, Carl. No, we're not blaming Pip. We're blaming Alan.
I don't even know how that even got in there, that one. But it must have been somewhere in my video file.
Eddie's in the space-time continuum.
Yeah. Yeah, but I broke it twice because first I didn't have the background for it. I got the timer working, but no background. And then I found a sort of a background. I thought it was the background. Then it broke the timer. So now I've got to figure out how to put the two back together again. But Alan didn't really help me a lot with that. I think I did most of that myself. I figured that one out. How to do all the time. How I got it working the first time.
I done screwed up all by myself. No assistance required.
Oh, right. What have we got? What have we got? What have we got? Get Alan to walk the plank.
Wow. Actually, we probably need a very wide plank.
Oh, to fit both wheels on. To fit the both wheels on.
Get him to trundle the plank.
Yeah.
Oh, Street, it's getting warmer in here. 28.3. Grief.
Haven't you got your number one fan on?
Yes. Trust me, it's on, but you're just moving warm air around, you know.
Yeah, actually heating up the warm air.
Yeah.
Slightly.
Little bit of friction. Yeah.
It's got to go out somewhere, doesn't it? Go out the window.
Yeah, but it's drawing warm air from, you know, off the landing and out the bedroom, and when the air outside is warm anyway. There ain't a whole lot you can do. I mean, yeah, you feel a little bit of cooling because, of course, the movement of the air across your skin. But I mean, at the moment, my phone's telling me it's 27 outside, and it's just about that inside. So,
have you got a clothes horse?
Yes.
Do you have towels?
Of course.
Do you know how to wet a towel?
I've got a vague idea. Yeah.
Yeah. And where would you put that said wet towel if you had a clothes horse in a van?
Probably be better off behind the fan.
You think?
Well, if I put it in front of the fan's just blowing against a wet towel. I ain't going to achieve a lot. Given how dense towels are, particularly when they're wet. And I don't too much moisture in the air in here, because what is this room full of?
Oh yeah, that wouldn't help, would it? I think something might start curling.
None of these books, but there are one or two on the other shelves that have got clear and obvious water damage to the corners, because they're the ones I was reading in the bath and nodded off and oh shit.
Oh no.
I have done that a couple of times, but fortunately the Kindle's never taken a dunking. But I got a couple of thick old books, and all of a sudden they go, you know, and then you have a hell of a job drying them out so that they don't get ruined. But yeah, I've done that a few times in the bath. You wake up very quickly when the book hits the water.
You wouldn't get wet twice because you sudden jolt in shock that you're wet the book when you wake, and then you slide back into the bath, and then you can't grip anything because you got hold of the book.
Well, no, because if I've nodded off, that means I'm sort of laying down in the bath anyway, which means my feet are usually up against the other wall because baths aren't long enough for me to lie down in, you know. And yeah, it's just a drop of an inch or two, but it's just that. Oh, bollocks! Quick. And if I feel I'm getting dozy in the bath and I'm reading the Kindle, then the Kindle gets put aside, you know.
No, Ball, we're not going down that road.
I'll ask my lovely young neighbour over at 18. I wouldn't mind seeing her in a wet. Could you just stand here in a wet t-shirt, please, in front of the fan? Thanks.
Yeah, it'll help keep me cool.
And then I'll be, why am I getting hot under the collar? Oh yeah. Oh, bugger.
Yeah, I was going to say that may not help.
It may just make matters worse. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, is it me or is it hot in here?
But you'll be enjoying the first few minutes.
Frustrated.
You'll be enjoying the first few minutes, though. Alright. I have missed out on a Mr. Sensible and Mitchell from, you know where. I'm ashamed to say the same words from where I am. And he happened to have gone to a place that just happens to be just around the corner from where I am. Playing with a Foucault pendulum at a university.
Is it quite close to you then?
Very, very close. I drive past it twice a week.
Oh, right. Oh, wow.
And even back when they first opened, or I think it was within the first week that they opened from the men's shed, we were down there helping them out with a few things. So we got to see the place before it developed to what it is.
That's pretty cool.
Oh no, Carl's losing his power again. Picking the wrong time of day for him.
They're predicting that over here.
This work center has been accident free since Joe left.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've noticed a few sites like that.
What, the accidents didn't start happening when Joe started?
Oh dear. Now over here they have these huge LED signs, you know, so number of days accident free and big dirty great big LED display things, you know. And then when you come in on site and it's been reset to 0 and you think, hello, somebody's in trouble.
There you go, you've got the clue to the
the clue now. Okay, T something T. Today's mathematician is known as the Mozart of mathematics and considered one of the world's greatest living mathematicians. He was attending university level math courses at the age of 9. Wow.
Yeah.
Poor sod. What happened to his childhood?
Yeah.
Age of 9, I was out in the field making forts out of straw bales. I mean, come on.
It is a
Australian,
3-letter last
Terry.
name, I gather, because I can't quite tell if there's another slash underline.
No, it's 3 letters. Please let his surname be Tit. Or Tat. Tit for tat. I don't know.
Oh, Carl's having a guess.
It's not Tristram Tit. It's not Thompson Tin. No.
Okay. Rings a bell about somebody being young in the education side of it. But I don't think I remember the name. Timmy? Oh no, not enough letters. Cakes.
Yeah, that's right, Carl Edwards, but his first name's not Mister.
Ah. Okay.
It's
Yeah,
not
that'd be a
Timmy
strange name to give your kid. What's your name, this child, Mister? got a music career in mind.
And he's Terence Tao. That is
Never
correct.
happened.
Haven't you? Yeah.
No.
Very, very bright fella.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've heard most blokes that are named Terry or Terence can be intelligent. I'm not saying all of them.
He said, it just said can be.
Well,
Yeah,
as a general rule, yes. That's,
Yeah.
there are
The odds.
exceptions.
Yeah, there is.
Oh, dear.
Now, how am I going to do this thing? What I want to do? Because Mr. Sensible's got 2 channels.
Oh, it confuses the hell out of me. It really does. Hang on, whose channel is this now? You know.
Yeah. I suppose we could go to. I'll just share my screen so the panel knows what I'm looking at. See, that's the live one, and they're 2 hours or whatever. He's got a debunking one, that one there. That's 5 days ago. But then he's got. Oh, that's Mitchell's. That's Mitchell's again.
Right, the one.
Oh,
Hang on, let me check my YouTube.
That's Mitchell.
The video you're looking for is what was on Conspiracy Cats' channel.
Yeah, I thought I had it here, but it looks like I've turned it off. I had it. I already had it. I had it here somewhere. Now I've got to remember where I put it.
It's the Mr. Baldy Sensible Cats channel. If you're looking for the one he put out yesterday, I paid a flat earther to work for me. Now he's salty.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yes, Mr. Baldy Sensible Cats channel.
And I've happened to. Looks like I've closed the tab.
Yeah, well, if you look in your history, if you close the tab, it should show it.
History. Yeah.
That's right. Go to history, and if it was a recently closed, oh, it was. I'm going to see it. Mr. Baldy Sensible Cats. Oh, stop it! Next one. There we go.
That one.
Yeah. There we are.
Okay. I'll bring that down there. No, I'd say to be that one then.
Well, that was the one where he sort of said, "Look, I've paid you this money. Now go and do it." And then the one he put out yesterday was when Mitchell got all upset because Mr. Sensible showed him his PayPal link.
Yeah.
Which is a bit strange because anybody could have clicked on there and seen it. Oops.
So there's no previous for that, only over on that one, on the live one, because that was 5 days ago.
Yeah, I never watched that live stream.
So how long ago back does it start? Doesn't seem to be anything back here about it.
No, well, when did Mitchell put his video out?
No, it's not. It doesn't quite kick in on that one.
Oh, that's strange.
Oh, here we are. That might help you. I've got 5 days ago for that
5 days ago.
And I've got 1 day. I've got 2.
Yeah, well, Mitchell put that video out 5 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
Then Mr. Sensible would have done his, I'll pay you $150 to go and do an uncut 4-hour video of it.
Mm-hmm.
Then Mitchell put out the latest one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I suppose if you want to go through them all in chronological order.
Yeah, that's what I thought. At least to give
that one
people
first
an
from
idea.
Mitchell.
Okay.
Yeah, that one first.
And then we'll go to Mr. Sensible's, and then we'll go to the last one. I think that'll be the order.
Yes. Yeah, it goes Mitch Sensible.
Oh, time to play yet.
flat Earth school.
Mm,
The irony,
Yeah,
the utter irony of it.
show it to the peanuts.
yeah, it's coming. It's coming. I think everybody's got it.
Yeah, I saw somebody ask that question the other day, Cakes. Somebody said, "Is it still the year of the sextant?" Or have they sort of dropped that like a hot potato?
Okay. We've got everything we need. Everybody's seeing what they should be seeing.
Go.
Go? Yeah,
Wait.
go. Yeah, go. Don't panic. Don't panic.
We are here today at Science Space to observe this Foucault pendulum. The globe model claims that this device can be used to demonstrate the Coriolis effect and therefore prove that Earth is rotating. Let's explore what the globe claim actually is. What is happening? As the pendulum swings back and forth, the Earth is rotating. An astronaut in space watching a pendulum at the North Pole would see the direction of the pendulum remain the same, but the Earth would turn below it once every day. We are standing on the rotating Earth, therefore we see the pendulum change direction. We are not at the North Pole, so our pendulum takes more than one day to complete a full rotation. A pendulum actually rotates slower the closer you move to the equator. At the equator itself, it doesn't rotate at all. The diagram in the bottom left represents what the globe claims a pendulum will do at the North Pole, in Paris, and at the equator. Being here in Sydney, we should observe the pendulum
We're not
rotate
in Sydney.
202
That's a
degrees
lie.
in 24 hours. In the top left, we are also given an activity to do. What to
Was
do?
he thinking he was going to
Work
dox
out
himself
which
by
domino
saying where
is going
it
to be
actually
knocked over
is?
next. The pendulum will appear to move counterclockwise. And being in Sydney, the globe claims that the pendulum will precess at a rate of 8.5 degrees per hour counterclockwise. So let's put this to the test, shall we? This is the starting position of the pendulum. The globe predicts it will precess counterclockwise 8.5 degrees after 1 hour, knocking over the dominoes with the blue X's, 17 degrees after 2 hours, knocking over a further 2 dominoes in purple, 25.5 degrees after 3 hours, taking out another 2 dominoes in green, and 34 degrees after 4 hours. We will be observing this Foucault pendulum for 4 hours, so the globe predicts we will see a total deviation of 34 degrees and a total of 6 dominoes on each side be knocked over. Beginning the observation at 9:11 AM, this is the starting position of the pendulum. The globe predicts it will deviate counterclockwise. At 10:11 AM, this is what we observe in the pendulum.
How does he prove what time it is? And it's edited in between.
The globe predicted that the pendulum
Doesn't
should have
look like he
deviated
does.
8.5 degrees in that first hour, but it is still on the same starting position. At 11:33 AM, we see the pendulum still in the starting position. The globe predicted after 2 hours it should have deviated 17 degrees and knocked over the dominoes highlighted. 10:12 PM, and the pendulum is still in the starting position. After 3 hours, the globe predicted it would have deviated 25.5 degrees. And finally, at 1:16 PM, the pendulum is still yet to show any sign of deviation. The globe claimed after 4 hours it should have deviated 34 degrees and knocked over a total of 6 dominoes on each side. So what is the conclusion that we can draw from this observation?
Not a lot,
Let's
really,
formulate
because it's hard
the
to tell.
modus tollens valid logical argument. If P, then Q. Not Q, therefore not P. And just to confirm, this is the claim of the globe, that we are standing on the rotating Earth, therefore we see the pendulum change direction. The modus tollens argument will be as follows. If the Earth we're standing on is rotating, then we will see the pendulum change direction. From the observations of the pendulum for 4 hours without any deviation, we can then conclude we don't see the pendulum change direction. Therefore, Earth is not rotating. So the next time someone claims that the Foucault pendulum proves that Earth is rotating, point them to this video and just let them know the Foucault pendulum proves Earth is stationary.
Funny thing is, Mitchell, I've been to Foucault's pendulums that do work. So what does that mean?
Hi, TT.
Howdy. The Flurfs love that modus tollens thing. They think it makes them sound smart. Yeah.
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 Yep.
Well, I can show you a broken clock and claim, time doesn't exist.
Yeah, that pendulum did seem to be quite small, didn't it? I think I've been told that you need them to be quite large for them to be effective. So, yeah.
Well, two things. It's very small, and the other thing that you note is that it is swinging with no apparent change in the magnitude of the swing over a period of 4 hours. It's got to have some sort of drive associated with it. And I think what you can conclude from all this is that they've got the drive out of line. It is possible to get it screwed up like that so that it just locks itself in one position. Turn the drive off and see what it does. There are at least 8 other ones in Australia that I can find that do work.
What up in Sydney?
Yeah.
Or any more in Wollongong? Because we've got a university as well. Wonder if they've got any there.
Was one listed at Questacon, which is the science museum in Canberra? Because I've got a feeling that they used to have one there.
That's a bit far.
Couple in Melbourne.
That's a bit far for me to go, Canberra.
From Wollongong to Canberra, too far.
Yeah, for me it is, yeah.
Were you going to be walking it?
No, drive.
There's one in the
So
Earth Sciences building at Melbourne.
It'd take about 2 hours, would it?
Well, you want me to do what Mr. Sensible done and get someone to pay me?
Sure, I'd pay you in beers. You can come and you can we can have beers. We can go to Questacon. It'll be fantastic.
A day out, you reckon? Like a Wallace and
Yeah,
McGrime
a big day out. Yeah,
A grand day out.
we could have some cheese, some Wesley Bale.
Yeah. So to follow on from that would have to be Mr. Sensible's on his Mr. Baldy Sensible Cats channel.
That's it. That would be the next one.
That'll be the next one, that one. So Mr. Sensible replied to it. Yes, Stewie, but there's only one problem with that, for Blue doing that. He'd either have to dig down about, how many feet? dig a big basement in his garage?
About 40 feet ought to do it.
Okay. As long as anyone else in the member of the family didn't walk into your garage and go without the light on, that'd have a bit of a that'd be a bit of a drop. Did somebody say Wensleydale? You did, didn't you, Father?
It wasn't me.
Oh, it wasn't you. Okay.
No, it was TT.
Oh, it was TT. Okay. Press play.
That'd be a good idea. Yeah, why not?
Okay. Oh. Sorry if we can hear it.
Hi. Today, a flat earther has asked me to pay him 150 Australian dollars to make a video. I think you need to know the backstory. Now, Mitchell from Australia recently released this video. Foucault's pendulum proves Earth is stationary. Well, I did a live stream last night. Don't forget to check it out. Make sure you subscribe to my live streaming channel. And in that stream, I addressed Mitch's video. The video has this description. Does the Foucault pendulum actually demonstrate the rotation of the Earth? The globe model claims that we are standing on a rotating Earth, which causes a Foucault pendulum to change direction and deviate over time, also used to demonstrate the Coriolis effect, as Earth is claimed to rotate underneath the pendulum. But as we find out, in reality, the Foucault pendulum does not deviate, proving the Earth is in fact stationary, and we never observe Earth-based Coriolis. Now, in my live stream, I felt I dealt with Mitch's video extremely fairly. Here are the main points. Mitch filmed the video at a place called Science Space, which I assume is a kids' science museum in Sydney. Here is the rather small, but here is the Foucault pendulum in question. Mitch points out that due to Sydney's latitude, according to the globe, then over a period of 1, 2, 3, 4 hours, the pendulum should precess by 34 degrees. He shows the pendulum 4 times at various points, showing that this pendulum apparently has not moved. His final clip shows the pendulum apparently at 1:16 p.m. having not precessed. Now, in the stream, I quite reasonably came up with several possible explanations. Firstly, is this an actual working Foucault pendulum, or just some sort of exhibition model, just to point out to kids what the equipment looks like? Secondly, I pointed out that perhaps the equipment is broken. Is there an issue with the mounting of the line?
What's that, TT?
That's going to suck if that was what was. This is what a Foucault's pendulum would look like if it was working, but it doesn't.
I also pointed out that possibly there was an issue with the pendulum mechanism that keeps the pendulum swinging. I don't know. And lastly, I pointed out that his video was not continuous. It had several cuts, and that some people may accuse him of manipulation, of lying. I made clear that I was not doing so, because I have no evidence to show that either way. I suggested that perhaps he go back and film the entire 4 hours uncut, just to rule out any arguments like that. After the stream, of course, there's been a lot of talk about this. One of my subscribers sent me this link. This is a screen capture from Google Maps showing that pendulum, and in this image you can see that quite a few of those dominoes have been knocked over. Interesting. I then decided, why not contact Science Space? Hi, I saw a video about your Science Space attraction that showed the Foucault's pendulum is obviously small and didn't appear to precess. Can you please confirm if it is an actual working Foucault pendulum, or is it just an example model, just to show children how one of these pendulums would work, knock down pegs and dominoes? Has it got an electromagnetic mechanism just to actually keep it swinging back and forth without actually disturbing the dominoes that appear to say Science Space or something? I'd appreciate a reply and an explanation. Well, unfortunately, I haven't heard back from Science Space at this point. I was pleasantly surprised to find I had an email from Mitch. I hear you had a problem with my pendulum video. Care to elaborate? I won't be watching your video unless you want to pay me to. And then I replied, hi Mitch, and I managed to screw up the email, so I tried again. Hi Mitch, I think you'll find I was very fair. Have a look at this portion of the stream when I go through your vid. 24 minutes 10 to 42:40, with the main part being up to about 36 minute 50, and the remainder is what I think is summing up. And I was very fair with you. I do not claim you are lying, but deal with what you have shown. Start of the breakdown, and I provided a link. Anyway, I checked back on Mitch's vid just to have a look at the comments, and I saw this. For all of you zealots asking for 4 hours of uncut footage, I'd be more than happy to return and serve you up some humble pie. But you will be financing my entrance fee, petrol, and my precise time. $150 to my PayPal, link is in the description, or get off your asses and get some footage for yourself. Well, that is as I predicted, Mitch. People have called you a liar. I didn't. Well, I thought about this for a couple minutes and wanted to make a post, but then remembered that you had blocked me because, quote, you said that you don't speak to lying canuts. But I'm a clever boy, so I decided to log into my new Mr. Baldy Sensible account, and I made this posting. Mitch, I know you blocked me on my other account, so I'll post this single polite post and then wander off again. On my stream, I offered to cover the cost of the ticket if you return and do a 2-hour uncut video showing this pendulum swinging for 2 hours. I feel $150 is too much since it is your evidence, but I will contribute something towards your time as well. I will therefore here and now agree to the following. Upon you posting a 2-hour uncut, unedited video of this pendulum swinging, I will then PayPal you within a couple of days, but as soon as possible, to your account, $100 Australian to cover the ticket, fuel, and a little something for your time. Additionally, if it shows the pendulum does not process, I shall add another Australian $100, making a total of $200. The video must not be sped up so that there are no arguments over the length of the time of the film. I will require a 30-second close-up of the top mechanism so we can see what it is like, and close-ups of the pendulum starting and ending swing positions so it is clear if it has precessed or not. So if you show this 2-hour uncut video, I shall pay $100 Australian, and if it doesn't process, I shall pay you $200 Australian instead. I look forward to this. You can screen grab this post so that you can hold me to this promise. I have screen grabbed this too. Unfortunately, it appears Mitch is a bit cleverer than I thought, and he's already blocked Mr. Baldy Sensible Cats, so that post never stood. Therefore, that offer is withdrawn. Well, a short time later, I found that I had not one, but 2 more emails from Mitchell. Like I said, I won't be watching your video, but if you're calling foul on what I've shown, I will happily return to the museum and record a full, unedited 4 hours, even live stream it. But since you are calling me out, you'll have to be financing it. It's $52 entrance fee, $50 for petrol, and $50 for my time. I think you'll agree that is very fair. I'll give you a $2 discount. $150 to my PayPal, and provides a link and says, "Put up or shut up, princess." He then followed that up with, "Someone has informed me that you publicly requested I return to the pendulum and film it for 4 hours uncut. Can you confirm this is your request? And if so, there shouldn't be any problem providing the funds to get me back there. Don't go running away now. You wanted to be part of this." So Mitch, you're asking for $150 Australian to cover a ticket, some fuel, and your time to film that Foucault pendulum for 4 hours uncut, and you will upload that video to run 4 hours real time. Okay, here's the link in your email. Okay, our contract is $150 Australian. I'm not going to make it monthly. Log in. Bit slow. Okay. There we go. Thank you for donating $150 Australian, and I presume that's your partner. Cheers, Mitch. Thank you. It's nice doing business with you. And here is my receipt. Unfortunately, I can't post on your video to let you know I've accepted your contract, although I will reply by email. But I think it's only wise if people let Mitch know in his comments about this video where I have hired him. Sweet! So let's have a quick recap. If you do this and film and upload a video as agreed and as I've hired your ass to do, you keep the money. Procession or not. I give you 1 calendar month to do this, or I expect a full refund. Nobody is going to let you forget about this. The options now are: 1. You refuse to do it, and you're shown to be a know-nothing blowhard. I will expect my $150 Australian to be returned immediately. Otherwise, that will be fraud on your part. If you return it, You are shown to be a know-nothing blowhard who can't back up his claims, and it is you that needs to suck it up, princess. Option 2. You film the pendulum and it doesn't process. Well, you're going to have to show the video if you want to keep the money. Otherwise, again, I expect my $150 Australian to be returned forthwith. And everybody will see that you have failed to provide the evidence. So if you upload the film of the pendulum and it is not processing, this will show either that the pendulum had been defective on the day of your original filming, or that you must have manipulated the video and have now been caught lying. Again, it is you that will have to suck it up, princess. Option 3. You film the pendulum and it does process and you upload that film. Well, you get to keep the cash. You will have earned it, Mitch. But you will regret having blocked me, because you could have got $200 Australian for exactly the same task. What's more, you wouldn't have had to film for 4 hours, but only for 2. And what will you have then proven, Mitch? That the Earth doesn't rotate? No, you will have shown that one pendulum, for an unknown reason, doesn't process. And that will be something that needs to be looked into. Why? You certainly haven't busted me, as I never claimed that you were lying. And I'd only raised some sensible questions that needed to be looked into. You will have earned your money by working your ass off for 4 hours instead of 2. Thanks. So Mitch, you have my money. The contract is agreed. Get to it, boy. Chop chop. Oh, and just to rub a little salt into the wound, I lose nothing. If you do the video and upload it, it will not cost me a penny, as I will claim it against tax as a legitimate business expense. After all, I will have hired your ass as a creator in order to create some content for me. Thank you. And if you don't, I get my money returned to me. Thanks again. Because we wouldn't want you labelled as a scamming fraudster now, would we, Mitch? So you wouldn't keep the money if you don't produce and upload that video. Mitch, the phrase that comes to mind is hoist with your own petard. Chop chop, get to it.
Mitch, Mitch, I hear you work for Mr. Sensible nowadays, so... Yeah.
It's not funny at all, is it?
$12.50 an hour.
Yeah.
$12.50 Australian per hour. Mitch, you can make more money flipping fucking hamburgers.
Yep.
Okay. What would I need to be able to go down there? What device could I use? I don't know if I could film for 2 hours on a phone. But I wouldn't mind
That's
going...
hard to do.
Your phone batteries would last 2 hours, wouldn't they?
I don't know, I've never tried. But it's worth investigating if I could. Go down and see them.
Well, what's the latest picture from Mitchell? Because I heard a rumor that there was a out of order sign on the
That's what
on the pendulum.
That's the next video I'm playing from Mitch.
Oh, okay. Spoiler. Whoops.
You ruined it now.
Damn. Lucky it's on a 3-second delay and you can mute me before it goes out to YouTube.
How about if we just put you on a 24-hour delay? How does that grab it?
Okay.
Okay.
Mean.
Yes.
I've already opened it up.
You know when they say harsh but fair? No,
Yeah.
just harsh.
Yeah, well, I've been a bit harsh on you on the odd occasion too, Farmers, so it's probably all fair.
Well, all's fair in love and war.
Yeah, indeed. We're big boys.
Oh, yes. Git.
I'd say this is the one. So this is the one he brought out after that.
That's it. Yeah.
August 9.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Flat Earth School. The school that is all around us 24/7 since the beginning of existence. I'm Mitchell from Australia, and I'm back here live at Science Space in Wollongong, the home of the Earth rotation debunking Foucault
Not Sydney
pendulum.
anymore.
Yeah.
He's
funny
moved to
that.
To
Wollongong.
recap from
Yeah.
the first visit, we confirmed that the globe
Already
claims
corrected
that we
it.
are standing on the rotating Earth. Therefore, we see the pendulum change direction to a tune of 8.5 degrees per hour anti-clockwise. So over 4 hours, the globe predicted that the Foucault pendulum would deviate 34 degrees. The observation of the Foucault pendulum started at 9:11 a.m. By 10:11 a.m, we observed that the pendulum had still not deviated at all. The globe predicted that it would have deviated in that first hour 8.5 degrees anti-clockwise. 11:33 a.m, after 2 hours, the globe predicted that the pendulum should have deviated 17 degrees. After 3 hours, at 12:10 p.m, the globe predicted the pendulum should have deviated a total of 25.5 degrees. But still 0 deviation was observed. And finally, after 4 hours, at 1:16 p.m, if the Earth were actually rotating underneath this pendulum, the globe claimed that it should have deviated 34 degrees anti-clockwise, but no deviation was observed. So I then formulated a modus tollens valid logical argument. If P, then Q, not Q, therefore not P. If the Earth we are standing on is rotating, then we will see the pendulum change direction. Over 4 hours, we did not see the pendulum change direction at all. We don't see the pendulum change direction, therefore Earth is not rotating. Concluding that the
Substitute
Foucault
that
pendulum
Mitchell is
proves Earth is stationary. I've been requested to come back here by Mr. Sensible to take a 4-hour video of this Earth rotation debunking Foucault pendulum. Now, I've been called a liar.
No, he
People have
wasn't. He
said
wasn't
that
called a
the
liar.
pendulum absolutely does show the rotation of the Earth, that I just edited things together, that the Foucault pendulum absolutely will work. Well, my claim is that the Foucault pendulum inside this building here does not show the rotation of the Earth. Now let's go in and have a look, shall we? Now, much to my surprise, I didn't even have to wait 4 hours to prove my claim. The museum had already proven it for me. After being absolutely inundated by people's phone calls and emails asking why their Foucault pendulum does not work, the museum had no other choice but to go into damage control and close their exhibition, fully confirming my claim that this Foucault pendulum did not demonstrate the rotation of the Earth. Enjoy the humble pie, globe believers who said I was a liar, that this Foucault pendulum absolutely would show the rotation of the Earth. You've used up all your excuses trying to dance around the issue. Now it's time to address the fact that there is no observable or measurable Earth rotation. But let's not forget the real star of the show, Mr. Sensible, whose donation and arrogance made this Earth rotation debunking possible. At best, all you've done is debunk Earth rotation. Hashtag thanks, Mr. Sensible.
Well, someone that claims that they're all logical, he's just got a pretty piss-weak logical argument there, doesn't he?
Definitely.
He didn't fulfill Mr. Sensible's request, so he needs to give his money back.
That's right.
Yep.
But it didn't sound like he's going to.
He basically proved Mr. Sensible correct because one of his theories was the Foucault's pendulum was broken.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's like me showing you a rubber duck and say this duck won't lay an egg.
Yeah.
Quack, damn you.
Yeah, but you'd have to be quackers to do that. Sorry. Not sorry.
See, so who's to say he knew that wasn't processing because there was something wrong with it and they hadn't quite.
Quite possibly. You know, because hashtag got lie to flirt. You know, so he could quite well known that in the first place when he videoed it.
That's not the only one that I've seen do that. And I can't remember where the other one was. It seems like it was in Europe somewhere. that girl, I can't remember what her, she's vanished now. The one that Travis used to mess around with, Eyes, something or the other. Anyway, she found one someplace that did the same thing. It would lock itself in one position. And it was just an alignment problem with the magnetic drive.
Yeah, maybe Mitchell was quite, opportunistic. He was on the tour of the museum and noticed, oh, it's not working, so I'm going to make a video. But would he go to a science museum, just in his normal everyday life?
It's a real stretch calling that a science museum in the first place, but
yeah,
no, he wouldn't. He would go to a child's exhibit, which is what he went to.
Right.
Whatever you do, Mitchell, don't go to a real university, for instance, and look at their Foucault pendulum.
Heaven forbid.
I want to see if there's one at
The irony of a flat earther teaching his kids science. Wow.
I'm going to see if there's one.
They're going to grow up so screwed up, confused.
Yeah.
Getting the piss
And they're
taken
gonna
out
grow
of them
up-
mercilessly at school.
Yeah. And they're going to grow up to hate dad when they realize, fuck, my dad was a moron.
Yep.
Oh, did I spell that wrong? I did too.
Wow.
I've got to spell it right. What have I spelt wrong here? That bit there somewhere. Maybe I just start again.
Yeah, well, you've got an extra L in there for a start.
And I'll put in. I can't see if I'm spelling it right. Yeah, there we go. There we are. We'll set this one there. I don't know where that is. Yeah, see, science space Wollongong. But they're not saying anywhere else. There's one here for education. We'll take out Wollongong. We'll put Australia. We'll narrow it down. Monash, Clayton. I don't know where that is. Monash University. I thought I had seen one for Australia, but I'm not sure where it was in.
Oh, there's plenty around Australia.
In Sydney, and in, TT was saying there should be one in Canberra. Take out that one.
There's one at Melbourne University in Melbourne.
Yeah, I know. In 1995, Physics University of Sydney built a Foucault pendulum. Oh, it's not hard to find one then. But if they're going to have one at that place there in Wollongong, having it actually working properly would have been a better exhibit than if it is working, it can work properly. Oh, that's in Melbourne, Dave. Okay. Yeah, we'll have to look into that. Oh, we've missed out on Lindsay Farmer. Oh,
I came rushing all the way back from Wales.
Yeah, you did too.
Although it does show the perils of talking to somebody on the phone whilst you're driving. There's a certain point where I have to switch from the M5 to the M40. And when I finished talking with him, I thought, hang on a minute, I know this bit of road. I should be back here somewhere. I'd missed the turn off completely.
We'll watch the bit of the debate with Toon after we have a break.
A break in a Kit Kat.
Yeah, have a Kit Kat.
I ain't got any Kit Kats.
Oh, you haven't got one?
No.
You got kitty cats, but not Kit Kat.
Yeah, I'm not breaking them.
I can make a cat go woof.
Yes, I know. You cover it in petrol and set light to it.
Yeah. Woof.
Yeah. I'm not doing that either.
But do you know how to make a dog meow?
Yes, I can. Put it in the freezer.
Right.
Take it out. Put it through the bandsaw. Meow.
Yep. Okay.
Sorry, I spoilt your joke, TT.
No, you didn't spoil it. You just told it. That's all right.
Yeah.
I know how to make a room full of elderly church women scream the F word. Just yell bingo.
Yeah.
So, Paul,
Yes.
would you have any easy quiz questions for us?
I don't know about easy ones, but I've got some quiz questions.
He's got some absolute stinkers. Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Let me start the thing.
And will your you know what handle it?
I hope so. Seems to be going all right so far.
Fingers crossed.
Before I share, I better get the internal chat up, hey?
Oh, nice one, Stewie. Yeah, that's a problem with digestives. They do go down quickly, don't they?
You sure you're not eating cork coasters?
They last longer that way
Yeah.
because they're a bit chewy.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, dear.
Right. Is that being shared? Yes?
Oh, yes.
Okay,
Oh, dear.
good. Alrighty, the hard quiz. Here we go. Question number 1. At an LA showing of this film, a youth ran through the screen shouting, "It's God, it's God." What film would this be?
Through the screen.
Through
Just scrolling
the screen,
Wow.
yeah. No clue?
Hang on. Let me just take
Okay.
a punt. Let me just try. I
Okay.
mean, it could, because bearing in mind, yeah, it's probably wrong, but
Well, you never know until you try and give me an answer.
no, I have given you an answer.
Was it in 3D, this movie?
To Farmer's Boy, direct message. Where are we? Oh, no, it's not that one. It's not Dogma.
I thought I just,
No.
well, because you know who played God in
Not
Dogma.
Grease. It's not Grease either. All right, I'll give you another clue. Jack DeBellis considers Skeeter's role as a black messiah in an article that examines John Undyke's reference to this film in Rabbit Redux. What film is this? The hard clues are first, of course.
Well, I know, but bloody hell.
Not Life of Pi. No, it's not Greece. Although, yeah, a bit sad. Olivia Newton-John has passed away, eh?
Yes, it was.
Another quick clue then. Olivier Morgue's red gin chair is often nicknamed for this film. No? How about I give you some easier clues then?
I think that might be a good idea. Yeah.
Okay. Although its New York premiere was booed, this film found a new audience thanks to retooled psychedelic posters promising the ultimate trip and a removal of 19 minutes of footage. Which film would this be?
Ultimate trip.
Yeah, it's not Roger Rabbit. It's not The Throne. It's not Kavanakasi. No. Okay. For the 50th anniversary of this film, Christopher Nolan supervised an unrestored release.
Still not coming to me, I have to admit.
No? Okay.
No.
You'll get it. Almost all of Alex North's score for this film was removed in post-production. Not Inception. No, it's partly based on the short story The Sentinel. Slit screen photography was used for its Stargate shot.
Yeah, well, that kind of gives it away, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't
Not
it?
even going to bother writing that down because it's not worth it.
That's why this clue is near the
Last
end.
one, yeah.
Yeah, what were you going to say, Farmer's Boy?
2001: A Space Odyssey.
It is. That's
Because
right.
that's what
Although,
the Sentinel is what it's based on. Yeah.
Yeah, I see Carl Edwards has put Oddity.
No, that's David Bowie. Sorry.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but
got
it is indeed. It is indeed correct. It is 2001: A Space Odyssey. Yeah, an iconic shot in this film transitions from a club thrown into the air to a satellite. Yeah, named this Stanley Kubrick sci-fi film. It was 2001: A Space
I
Odyssey.
didn't realise that they'd done an unrestored sort of release of it. I mean, I've got it on Blu-ray because I ain't got many films on Blu-ray, but I've got that one. Yeah, because that is a. But I mean, Skeeter's role as a black messiah. What? Who? So presumably Skeeter is one of these Australopithecus that we see here now, and I had no idea that one of them was called Skeeter. I'm not that into it, you know. And a red gin chair being nicknamed for 2001: A Space Odyssey. I mean, what?
Yeah, it's a bit obscure, isn't it?
I'll say just a tad.
Yeah. Nevertheless, someone out there got it.
Yeah.
Okay, question 2. Paula Rabinowitz wrote a recent history on how these things brought modernism to Main Street. What things would this be? And who's Paula Rabinowitz?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
A historian.
More upmarket examples of these goods were made in the larger dimension B format. What are these things? Not KFC. No.
KFC upmarket. Come on.
They're not comic books or girly magazines, but the 1953 Gathings Report condemned this type of degenerate media.
Not
graphic novels.
A B format.
Not bras. Not TV sets. Not tit bras either. Not newspapers, no. Robert de Graaf's company introduced the mass market examples of these things at a price of 25 cents in 1939, largely copying the British business model of Alan Lane. What are these things? You're on the right track, TT guy, but that's the one, Big Blue. You've got it. And S. Thurston II has got it out there too. Paperbacks is the correct answer.
Yeah, which is what I said as well.
Yeah. Reviewers often receive works in the trade form of this medium. GIs were introduced to this medium through free armed service editions. Yeah. The initial success of this medium in 1939 brought Wuthering Heights back into the top 10 bestseller list. Name these types of inexpensive books typically released after a book is in hardcover. They were paperbacks.
They are a particular bone of contention of mine with a certain company over in this country called Games Workshop. There was a very, very successful series of novels which runs to in the region of getting on for 60 odd at the moment. When they were first released, you could only get them in one format, what they call a mass market paperback.
Yeah.
So that's what I started collecting them in. After about 5 or 6 of these books had come out, they started getting popular and they thought, hang on, we can make money out of this. So now what they do is they release it in hardback. About 6 months after that, they release it in what's called trade paperback, which is bigger than an ordinary paperback. And then about a year to 18 months after that, you get the paperback. So because I stuck to the original format all the way through, because it makes sense on my bookshelf, I now have to wait upwards of 18 odd months from the original issue of the book to when I can get what I term the original version, which is paperback. Yeah, it's they've been absolute bastards about it, to be honest.
Just read it on the Kindle, farmers. Just get it on the Kindle.
I do also now have some of them on the Kindle, but as you might be able to notice, I'm a bit of a completist. So if there's a series of books, I want them all, but I want them all in the same bloody format. You know, I don't want to have some in paperback, some in trade paperback, which are bigger and more expensive, and then some in hardback, which are a separate class again. So you want to keep it all the same, but they've been greedy about it. But there
so
you
if you've got two books,
a company wanting to make money.
If you've got two books and one's in hardcover, one's in paperback, what's the difference in price, do you reckon, in a percentage wise?
Right. These particular books in paperback, they cost about £8. The trade paperback version is 12 to 14. The hardbacks are anywhere between 20 and 30 quid. And now, of course, they also do limited edition. So they're doing umpteen different versions for that collectors supposedly will go out and buy. No, I'm not getting conned out of money like that.
Well, that just shows how the whole thing's a con, right? Because
it is.
Put a bit of hard, the 2 extra bits of hard cardboard on the outside of your book, and then it's 3 times the price. What the fuck?
Yeah. But there you go.
Yeah. Question 3. Early methods for obtaining this stuff involved a device coated with paraffin called a Kimpton tube. What stuff would this be? Not graphene, no. Not wax. Frederick Durand Jorda developed an innovative way to store this stuff in Barcelona in the 1930s. After a 17th century madman named Antoine Moroy died of this stuff, some research on it stopped until the 20th century. What stuff would this be? Not unobtainium. Not mercury. No.
I can't believe they left that name in for that bloody film.
I know, yeah. During World War II, ice cream trucks collected this stuff in slip-resistant milk bottles, invented by Janet Vaughan. What stuff were they collecting? Not dry ice. Now for some easy clues. An African American named Charles R. Drew organised a campaign to send 5,000 litres of this material to the UK starting in 1940. What stuff? Not hydrazine, not dominium dome material, not cream, no. The citrated form of this stuff could be stored for up to 2 weeks. Not heavy water.
Oh, God.
Not peanut butter.
Oh, finally, the bin men are here. It's just mute.
Different categories of this stuff were identified by Carl Landsteiner, who studied the agglutinin within it. Yeah, you finally got it right, TT guy, but not before Irish Stew got it first out in the peanuts. It is indeed blood. Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, Percy Oliver started a donation campaign for this stuff at the Red Cross, named this bodily fluid, given to wounded soldiers in transfusions. It is indeed blood.
Good one.
Question 4. Yeah. Marcel Duchamp's brother-in-law, Jean Crotty, was inspired by one of these devices to make works using the Gemail technique. What devices would these be? In the 20th century, gay rights pioneer John Burnside rediscovered and patented the math behind high-end versions of these devices and invented a large mechanical variation called a symmetricon that was used to create some effects in Logan's Run.
Oh, God. What? The original film, Logan's Run? Bloody hell. It's going back a bit.
What effects?
I was just trying to think what effects are in there.
There's a bit of a clue in that name, symmetricon. The 2018 Churches track, Get Out, ends by repeating that you are one of these things. What things are they?
Not one of them.
That is correct, Farmer's Boy, yes.
Is it? I think that might even be spelt right as well. I'm not sure.
I reckon you have indeed spelled it right. And
Wow.
Carl Edwards got it out there.
Gets it.
Yep, Carl Edwards got it a short second after Farmer's Boy.
Yeah.
Well done. It is indeed a kaleidoscope. Lighthouse innovator and angle namesake David Brewster invented these devices, even writing a 174-page treatise on them. Wow.
I bet that's a good read.
Yeah, which explained how they could produce thousands of combinations. Yeah. A girl's eyes are compared to these devices in the Beatles song Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. You know, the girl with kaleidoscope eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Name these devices often consisting of a viewing tube and some glass shards to see interesting light patterns. They are kaleidoscopes. Yeah. Question 5. Francois Regis Houghton argued that there is no one of these things in Moscow in an essay on why an electronic one of these things would lead to totalitarianism. What are these things?
An electronic one of whatever it is.
So apparently if you go to electronic one of these things, you're going to end up with totalitarianism.
Really?
And I think it's been proven wrong, but because I think most countries have them now. An electronic version of these things was prototyped in Ille-Vilaine in the early 1980s. Not pay toilets, no. Not phones.
Airbnb.
Or speed cameras or voting machines. No. Access to an electronic one of these things known as... Oh, I don't know how to say 11 in French.
Uh,
I don't know.
ONS, isn't it? No?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the
ONS.
was provided via a free Minitel terminal that French citizens could pick up at a post office. Not a Flurf robot, not an Airbnb, not a record player, not BBs, not ATMs, not typewriters or pay toilets or automatic tellers. No. A business that published these things was founded by Reuben Donnelly and eventually became Dex One. What are these things? Not electronic bulletin boards, no. Not computers. Henry Alexander designed the untrademark Walking Fingers logo used in many of these works. That should give it away. Yeah, that's right. That's right, TT guy. But you were beaten by Carl out there again.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They
Oh,
are
Walking Fingers, of course.
telephone books. Yeah, telephone books. Where are we? Yeah. A font legible in small print was developed for these things and is called Bell Gothic. One could pay a fee to be unlisted and not appear in these things. So you actually have to pay not to be in one.
I think that's a free option with mine because I shouldn't be listed.
Yeah. Type of reference work once used to find someone's number. They are telephone books. Yeah.
Once used, yeah.
Yeah. I
Once
do
used,
occasionally get asked, oh, what's your landline number? I ain't got a clue. I don't know what it is.
Don't have a landline number anymore.
I do have a landline, but there's only one person who ever rings it. Mother. So whenever the phone rings, I know who it is without looking because she's the only person who calls it. Bless her heart.
Question 6. A businessman strides past some youths in the There's a Revolution in the Streets campaign promoting this product. What is this product? Yeah. A revolution in the streets. What thing was this? I'm after a very specific product. Yeah.
I bet you are.
These devices were found to have infringed on a patent held by Andre Pavel. One could talk with a friend using the hotline button on early versions of these devices, which were once called stowaways in the UK.
I'll have to say that doesn't ring any bells.
No?
No, that must have passed me by completely.
Not tragic signal?
Tragic.
Socks? No. Scooters? No. Hula hoops? No. Not car phones? Not walkie-talkies? Oh, man. In the 2000s, waterproof examples of this line could be bought in water bottles from vending machines. The first version of this device had a second output port over concerns about rudeness but lacked a record button. Come on, I have to say the Peanuts have got this. The first prototype for one of these devices was assembled by Norjo Oga and given to executive Masaru Ibuka to test on his next transatlantic flight. By 1999, this brand was being used on devices that could play compact discs. Yeah?
Yeah, Peanuts have got it. Yeah.
Peanuts have got it. It's the Sony Walkman. Yeah. Portable cassette players manufactured by Sony. It is the Walkman. Yeah.
I don't remember the ones over here called stowaways. I mean,
Okay.
God knows when they did that. That just passed me by completely.
Yeah.
How did this hotline button work then?
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but I imagine it was something that you could, like if you had two people listening to the one device, you could press a button on it and it would, you could hear the other person talking in your earphones.
Right, here we go. I just Googled it. The first Walkmans, they had 2 headphone jacks and a hotline switch. When pressed, this button activated the microphone and lowered the volume to enable those listening to have a conversation without removing their headphones. So they both had to be plugged into the same Walkman.
Yeah.
Yeah, because obviously one Walkman can't transmit to another one.
Yeah, right. Okay.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Question 7. In 1998, Louis Bourgeois was commissioned by the C Project to create crimson-coloured art using this technology. What technology? Not carbon copies, no. Professor Rajesh Menon is working on a version of this technology inspired by the blue wings of morpho butterflies. What technology is this? Not photocopying, no. That's the one, Farmer's Boy. Yeah. That is indeed it. Not
That's
finger
early.
painting. Not red leading, no. In 2015, the South Korean company Etri used a Rubik's Cube to demonstrate a colour advancement it made with this technology. Not chromatic aberration, not stealth, not thermal transfer printing, no. Laser discs were used in combination with a faked version of this technology to create the Sega arcade game Time Traveller.
Laser discs, blimey.
Yeah.
I remember them.
Yeah, they didn't last long, did they?
No, they didn't really, no.
They were too big and unwieldy.
Bloody great things.
I know. And finally,
There we go.
thanks, Brian Stevens out there got the answer. Holograms is indeed it. This technology doesn't actually power the Pepper's Ghosts that became popular following a 2012 performance in Indio, California. No. New spins on this technology dispense with the need for splitting the beam of a laser in two. A fictional version of this technology was used to give life to Robert Picardo's character, the Doctor on Voyager. The holographic Doctor, yeah. Name this technology which powers a namesake deck in the Star Trek universe. The holodeck, yeah.
Holograms. Yes, he was the emergency medical hologram, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was one of the better characters on that series, I think.
I think so, yeah. Question 8. In the 1890s, an Italian physician developed Sclavo's serum to treat this disease. I can just see the peanuts now typing in Sclavo. Yeah. Not smallpox, no. Frederick William Urich and John Henry Bell's research on this disease led to a 1919 Act of Parliament preventing the importation of goods infected with it. Not rabies. No. Many American doughboys contracted this disease from shaving brushes which had been dyed to make their horse hair look like badger fur. Not the Black Death. Not MSG. Not flurfism.
What's a doughboy?
I'm not sure.
Farmer's going to Google that for us too.
It rings a bell, but I just can't remember. Right, that was a nickname they gave to American soldiers in the First World War. Yeah, I think it first came up in the American Civil War, but that's where I remember it from. Now I've read that, I think, oh yeah, that's where I know it from. Yeah, that's when they called them when they, the war they nearly missed.
Yeah,
Bless
it's not chapped lips. It's not Lyme's disease or MSG. No. The group Dark Harvest transported Grignard Island soil contaminated with this disease to a Conservative Party meeting in Blackpool.
It's not that one, is
the
it?
one.
Yeah.
That's the one, Farmer's Boy. Yeah, and followed very closely by the TT guy. Yeah. Not tetanus peanuts. No. Not sunburn cream. That's the one, biggest doggest. It is anthrax. Yeah.
Are they still going? Wonder.
It was once known as wool sorter's disease. Yeah. 100 people died from this disease in 1979 in Sverdlovsk during the biological Chernobyl.
Oh, shit. I'll be back. That's work.
Righto. Sipco Industries provide an enzyme used by the US Postal Service to prevent the spread of this disease. Spores of what infectious disease were included in letters sent to Tom Daschle in 2001? It was anthrax. Of course, that's not the disease, that's the band, but yeah.
So the US Post Office has got some way of treating the disease with it.
Yeah.
Or was that to try and decontaminate letters with it?
Yes, yeah.
Wow.
Question 9. The inventor of this device published a 900-page manual on how to use it that built on techniques developed by a Leopold Owenbrugger. What device is this that needs a 900-page manual on how to use it? A high-quality 19th century device of this type was manufactured by George Carman and had ivory pieces that were less likely to fall out. Not a knitting machine, no. Not the brain fuck programming language, no. Not Marconi's radio, not a piano, no. Gadget lover Howard Sprague collaborated with engineer M.B. Bapaport to design a modern one of these things. Not purple dildos, no. In the 1850s, physician William Leonard created an especially long one of these devices to maintain Victorian levels of propriety. Not Charles Babbage's differential engine, no. Yeah, that's the one TT guy, but the spelling's a bit bad. That's better. That's correct, indeed. These things are typically used in conjunction with manual sphygmomanometers. That's a good word. Not a 10-foot pole.
Is that a component of the turbo encabulator?
No. That's a real thing. A sphygmomanometer is used to measure blood pressure, Terry.
Oh.
Blue's got it too, but the peanuts aren't onto it yet. Not a surgical gown, no. One common use of these devices is to identify Borborygmus. Big Blue's got it right. TT guy's got it right. The first prototype of these devices was a rolled-up notebook. Blood pressure something or other. No. But it's often used in conjunction with measuring your blood pressure. Come on, peanuts. They are useful in identifying pleuritis or in diagnosing murmurs.
Oh dear, I can't spell now. I mean, I haven't been listening. I've been watching, but are we talking one of them?
You are, yeah, that's right. In fact, you spelled it correctly.
Yeah. On my third attempt, yeah. I've got dyslexic fingers.
And finally, someone's got it right out there. M-ball with stethoscope, even though that's, yeah.
I didn't know you could spell it that many ways.
Dave Cannabis, stethosdope. Yeah. Yeah, it's quite a number of inventive spellings here. Name this medical instrument used to listen to a patient's heartbeat. It is, in fact, a stethoscope. Yay. Stethoscope.
Wouldn't a heart be a bit further under?
That's about the right spot.
Yeah, it's the right place.
What, a bit to the left or a bit to the right or a bit down a bit?
Well, might take
What are
several
you
goes to
listening
get it
to,
spot
Terry? I suspect you're not listening, Terry. You're looking.
What?
What?
What was the
Yeah,
question?
you got distracted.
What was the question?
Yeah, what's your bank account number?
Yeah. 10. These things were the output of a program called Distiller, now part of Lifecycle. What are these things?
Who? Oh, shit.
This is for all you computer nerds out there. Not Bitcoin. A plugin called Pitstop Pro is designed to fix errors in these things. Oh, come on. I've got to give it to the Peanuts on this one. They got it on the first clue. They're all computer nerds out there.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
They are. Yeah. I'll go through the rest of the clues anyway. John Warnock defined the Camelot standard for these things. Mac versions of these things once had .caro extensions, since the standard was later renamed Carousel. Yeah. A malicious one of these things was how the virus Peachy was delivered. Quicker helps people manage these things and annotate these things. Apple replaced Pict with this format. This format derives from but removes most of the control flow logic found in PostScript. And Rick Gates was sent an incriminating email asking him how to open these things in Microsoft software by Paul Manafort. The first software to edit this file format was Acrobat. That should have definitely given it away. Name this format used by Adobe Reader. PDF.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That reminds me, I've got to mark something up later on.
Yeah. And there you go. That was your quiz for the day.
Oh, that's a pretty good quiz. I like that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's a fair old mix of questions, huh?
I got 1 out of 10 tonight. That's pretty shitty. Oh well.
I won't keep them count. I know I've got a few, but
Yeah.
I could understand all the words in the question.
good. I should hope so too. Oh, I like the homing pigeon. That's good. Oh dear.
More work for you now, Farmer?
No,
Okay.
no, just a confirmation of the phone call I just had. That was all.
Oh, it's always good to have more work anyway.
Oh yeah, I don't think I'm going to be running out of work anytime soon. I think the old Amazon stuff has taken a little bit of a hiatus, but I think it's going to pick up again. I think they've had a bit of a rethink of just how they approach selecting sites and all the rest of it. So,
You're not,
And in
going,
the
back
meantime,
to, you're not
live-
going back to work for them, are you?
well, what do you think I've been doing for this company these last 4 months? That's what I was taken on to do, was to look at Amazon stores.
Sitting on live streams while being paid. That's what I think. Yeah.
And that as well, yeah.
Yeah.
You can't see what I'm doing on the other screen.
Likely story. That's what you got that story and you're sticking with it, right? Okay. Yeah.
Just hold still for a minute. I can almost see the reflection of your glasses.
Enhance.
Yeah, great. You'll see all the emails that I'm trying to sort out and file away, and which ones I got action and which ones I can just go, yeah, whatever.
Did I fix it?
Yeah.
Someone that was retiring from work someone was retiring from work the other day said that I'm leaving my organisation and I've only got 3,500 unread emails. Sorry if one of those is yours. Oh dear.
I don't know how I half fixed it, but I've half fixed it.
Yeah, you half fixed it.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. We've got 3.5 minutes to go, have we?
Yeah, but for some reason, the video that I got playing in it got chopped off on the side. Don't ask me how that happened. But I got the timer working, and I've got something playing in the background.
That's a quantum leap over earlier on. So
yes. Well, that's okay. Carl said, "Are we starting again?"
Yeah. Well, now we're going to start again, and this time you'll get Lindsay.
I'll have a look.
Just when you thought it was safe to go back to the internet.
I don't want to touch that for now, so I'll just leave it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Bloody right.
So I'll leave that for now.
So we didn't have a Lindsay video today, huh? I came in a bit late.
Oh, we can do Lindsay now, TT, if you missed out.
Do we have to?
I can hear depredate. What do you call it? That word? Depredation in your voice.
Oh, Carl's just lost his power.
Oh, there we go. Bye, Carl.
He'll be on his phone then.
What have I got left?
It's pretty bad over there in South Africa with the power.
No.
Yeah, they go on, like my boss, he's from South Africa and he's like mother's in South Africa and he's got other friends and that over there and they're on power rotation. Sometimes it's like 2 hours on, 2 hours off. Or in some places it's you get home and the power goes off between 6:30 in the evening and midnight, like just when you really want it.
When you want to sit down and stick a telly on and chill out, yeah.
Yeah,
great.
And it's not just one or two locations, it's the whole friggin' country.
Yeah, I did see earlier on today there are some dire forecasts about sort of what's going to happen with our power supply over here in the UK because they've been predicting it for quite a while, and I think the government and everybody else is just going, don't matter, we'll be fine. And now they're sort of actually thinking, oh shit, there might actually be something in this.
What's your primary power supply from?
It should be nuclear, I think, but we're having, for the last 20 or 30 years, it has been a combination. It's been nuclear, it's still been gas, coal's pretty much died a death. We've got lots of wind farms and things, but the problem with wind farms is they don't work exactly when you need them the most. Like when it's really, really cold, because generally over here, when it's really, really cold, it ain't windy.
No.
And we have got lots of PV arrays covering acres and acres of fields, but the power consumption of this country, we should have multiple nuclear reactors running, and we've only got a handful. And we've now given away the ability to build them ourselves, so we don't have the engineers to do it anymore. And all of the foreign companies that have been doing it for us are struggling with their own stuff, so they're not building anything for us.
Would a new nuclear power plant get off the ground in public opinion wise in the UK?
I think so. Yeah, that isn't the issue. It's how bloody long it's taking to build them. I mean, I think the Chinese are over here building one now, and it's way over budget. It's way off target.
Because I mean, if some politician puts the head above the parapet here and says, "Oh, I think we should have some nuclear power," they just get shot down. So.
What the actual breakdown is.
France seems to be, unfortunately, it would have to be the damn French.
Yes.
They seem to be the guys that figured it out. figured out how to design a standard nuclear plant and just replicate it. Every place else in the world, we start with a brand new clean sheet of paper every frigging time. And that's the problem.
Well, we should be able to build one that's completely fail-safe by now, right? If we've been doing it for a long time.
Well, there's fail-safe and there's fail-safe. I just found a report here. This dates back a few years. This is going back to 2016. In 2016, 42% of the UK's power generation was natural gas. 9% was coal. 21% was nuclear. But unfortunately, they're shutting nuclear plants down because they've reached the end of their natural life cycle.
Right.
And they're not getting rebuilt. We're not getting new ones to replace them.
And so no one's got a plan then. What that's going to be gas to replace that?
No, that is the problem. Nobody's got a plan. The experts have been warning the government for years. Look, this is only getting worse. You need to do something, and they've basically not been doing anything. You know, and then they turned to EDF and said, "Can you build us another nuclear power station?" And EDF, obviously the French concern, sort of said, "Well, no, we're too busy sorting our own out. Thank you very much."
Yeah. And you need to plan for like 15 years ahead or whatever. So how many?
Oh, at least, if not more than that, because these aren't projects that you can get done in a couple of years, you know.
And how many election cycles is that? that's 3 election cycles in the UK. Sorry.
Yeah, precisely.
We're doomed.
We're doomed. Yeah. So even now, I just had a look now. They're saying. Yeah, about 20% of our electricity comes from nuclear power stations. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got 6. According to this, 6 that are currently operational. But the thing is, you Hartlepool. Okay, Hartlepool's got a nuclear power station, so that provides energy to 2 million homes. That's all. In fact, each of these roughly supplies 2 million homes. Heysham 2, 2.4, Heysham 1, 1.6 million, Torness 2 million. Doesn't say what Hinkley Point B and Sizewell B are doing, but you can imagine they're probably about the same.
The problem factor with that is over in England, the elevation for rivers to have hydro.
Yeah, there is famously there's a hydro plant in Wales, not too far away from Snowdon, if I remember rightly, because I'm sure we went there years ago, and because it's all buried in the mountainside. You know, they've got a dirty great big lake at the top, and it all pours down inside, drives the turbines, and then they pump it back up, and round it goes again.
What do they pump it up
back
with?
Up?
What do you think?
The electricity that they've just generated.
Yeah, but they generate a damn sight more. What is the bloody place called?
You can wear the water out doing that, damn it.
I mean, that's a way to store energy. They talk about doing that here, storing your using wind power or solar energy to bring water uphill and store it there as a battery.
Oh, that must be the place. Snowdonia, Dinorwig Power Station, known locally as Electric Mountain. Supplies a maximum power of 1,728 megawatts. Has a storage capacity of 9.1 gigawatt hours. 33 terajoules.
Terajoules.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the water is pumped back up generally at night when it's off peak, so the electricity is cheaper. Yeah, so it flows down during the day, and then they pump it back up at night.
Well, you get a spanner, George, if you've subbed.
And as Carl points out, geothermal. Yes, just go to Iceland. And see how they use geothermal. It's fine if you can do that. And of course, in Iceland, a lot of it's conveniently close to the surface or at the surface.
Yeah,
that's the problem, isn't it?
Yeah, it's how far down have you got to go to tap into it?
Store your wind for later use.
I mean, they are now even in existing wind farms here in the UK that have been up for a while. They're now looking at sort of making them taller and fitting turbines with bigger blades and all the rest of it. But there's quite a lot of it now. But that is one of the biggest problems with wind farms on the coldest days is generally when you get the least amount of wind. So the times when you want the most power for going to homes for heating and such like, you ain't got it.
Well, if somebody had a brainstorm of figuring out how to get power out of cold, that'd be.
We could just harvest the moonlight.
Yeah, if only.
Now, somebody said that Toon's video had some interesting content. I've got no idea where to be or go in this.
That was a strange one. I watched a few minutes of it this morning. It was just like, what the hell is going on? Because it was hosted on another channel, and they didn't seem to know what they were doing.
No, you ignore the bit where they set up and stuff like that. That's
I've moved forward to about there.
Well, I looked at the comments and somebody put a timestamp. I think it was about 55 minutes in when Matey Boy's doing his presentation. And that, I listened to that and I thought, this is painful. It really is painful.
This looks like...
So Terry's taking us straight to that bit now, the painful bit.
Yeah.
Oh, probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just rip the Band-Aid off and go for it, yeah.
It looks like it could be about there somewhere, if that's him.
I think, yeah, something like that.
Okay. And how much pain do you want to endure?
Oh, it is painful because he's obviously one of those very articulate blokes. Not.
Yeah, there's lots of presentations going on all through here. And McToon's back there. Okay. I better show the peanuts.
What's he got in his mouth, that guy?
No, it looks like a cigar.
All right.
That's what I'm saying. It just looks like one. No spoilers, doggers. Okay.
You can find me right here on Lions Den. You know what I'm saying? If y'all interested, y'all can also check me out on second class parent, father's rights, the fraternity of fathers legal rights. If you're interested in some legal custody information, that's what I do. And I'm here to look forward to this. Being a judge, I must be impartial. So I will be basing my ruling based upon the persuasive argument and the presentation. I'm leaving my opinion aside. And I'm focusing on how these two argue. And
Okay, we go to the last debater. We got MC2 and Michael. I just want to say this. I'm glad you on here, and I'm glad we breaking the bridge, man, of just having, I don't want to make it a racial thing, but, just that we having different races and stuff that's coming together and talking about subject.
Hopefully.
Can y'all see my screen?
They've annihilated me in the intro contest.
You can start the time.
Okay, so your times, we doing the 12 now or the 10?
12.
It's still not.
Okay, so your time starts now.
Okay, I don't want no interruptions. Okay, so now I'm gonna defeat this notion of flat earth versus round earth. I'm on the stance that
I'm muted on their stream. They can't hear me. So.
And I know that's a fact. And not only do I know that's a fact, there's scientific methods and empirical evidence and scientific observations to be able to prove this point and this concept. So now we're going to come and we're going to defeat this notion of gravity, because gravity is pretty much the heart of the heliocentric model. If you take out the heart, then that means that nothing else live after that. So I'm gonna take out the heart first, and then I'm gonna stick to my
But he talks
presentation
about
of proving
feathers
that the
falling.
earth is flat, and this is my stance.
Talk about
So now when
feathers.
we're dealing with the concept of science, we're talking about the concepts of how things work. We're talking about the scientific study of nature and physical reality using scientific methods, observations, and empirical evidence that can be repeated over and over again. So, explanation of gravity. Gravity is supposed to be a force. According to Newton's second law, a force acting on objects will cause it to accelerate. Force equals mass times acceleration. Acceleration is a rate of change or velocity if it's working with vectors. Speed and measurement is meters over second. So a rate of change of speed is measured meters per second over second, or meters per second square. An object dropped near Earth's surface accelerate downwards about 9.8 meters per second over second square. Due to the force of gravity, regardless of size, if air resistance is minimal. So pretty much, this is pretty much talking about anything that falls up, an object that pretty much falls, it falls at 9.8 meters per second every second. So every second an object falls, it falls 9.8 meters. It takes the term Mississippi. It take you 1 second to say term Mississippi, which is a 4-syllable word, which means each syllable has a 0.25 second concept to it. So now, as you can see on the right side right here, you can see force equals mass times acceleration. Object remains, the rest becomes because the forces acting on it are balanced, not because there are no forces acting upon it. The downward force of gravity is balanced by an upward force of the table. So now, let's continue. Breaking down the concept of 9.8 meters per second. Gravity has a downward force acceleration of 9.8 meters per second square. Or you can say 9.8 meters per second every second, meaning every second an object falls is supposed to accelerate 9.8 meters every second. For example, for the first second, an object will fall at 9.8 meters.
No, it won't.
He's saying all words, but I think he's missing some, and he's missed in the order he said it. It doesn't sound right.
It won't fall 9.8 meters in the first second.
Divide by 2, dummy.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I know. Keep going.
Yeah, okay.
2 seconds equals 19.6 meters. 3 seconds, 29.2 meters. 4 seconds, 39.4 meters. Keep in mind when converting distances. 1 meter equals...
Jesus. That's how fast it's going, not how far it went, you stupid.
Exactly, that's right, yeah.
Oh, my God.
3.28 feet, or so 9.8 meters times 3.28 would give you 32 feet per second. I meant to put feet per second. So the object's supposed to fall 32 feet every second. I would like to see you prove that, MC Tune, because I could drop a bottle cap right now and I'm 5 feet 10 and it'll take a second for it to hit the ground. So now let's continue. What is the difference between acceleration and constant motion? So when we're talking about acceleration, an acceleration is a change of force. An acceleration is not always consistent. It increases.
Even I knew that one wasn't right.
Acceleration is not a change of force.
It's a change in velocity, isn't it?
Yes,
yeah.
it is.
Correct, Terry,
Yeah.
Very good, Terry.
Oh, cool. See, why you ask those questions there, Paul? I'll get something right.
Increases speed every time. As you can see, these are prime examples. Here's a uniform motion and here's a uniform acceleration. A uniform motion has a constant motion of 10 meters per second in this example. Then you got 10 meters per second in a uniform acceleration, then 20 meters per second, then 30 meters per second, which means that acceleration ain't always consistent. As you can see right here in this other example, somebody jogs 5 seconds, 5 meters per second. And then you can see on another side where the woman began to start running even faster. This is called acceleration because acceleration is not a constant speed. Keep in mind that acceleration is increasing of speed of objects. So if the downward force of gravity is real, then why is there a specific amount of distance and an object falls every second? That's just like me saying I make $15 an hour. I know exactly how much I make because my rate is consistent. The concept of $15 is the amount of money I know I make every hour, and an hour is the time stamp of every time of the time it takes for me to make $15 an hour. So when we're talking about 9.8 meters, we're talking about a constant movement of velocity or speed that an object fall at a downward force.
A constant movement of velocity of
Let's
speed.
continue.
Yeah.
I don't know if this video gonna work.
Wow. I wish this hasn't got closed captions. I can't even capture that.
He has no idea what he's saying.
I want y'all to see that objects do not fall at the same speed. But MC Toon said objects fall at the very same speed.
No.
No. Yeah, exactly.
They accelerate. He doesn't even know what acceleration is.
Yeah.
Oh,
let me go and skip this.
I don't see their stream up.
Yeah, we're talking about a concept of falling bodies.
They also never understand that wind resistance exists.
Yeah, I was going to mention that.
Here's when things begin to fall.
Yeah.
Now check this video out. Everything do not fall the same speed.
Yes, wind resistance. All right. So.
No, you wouldn't get that.
I mean, we went over this in the prelim, and he didn't even understand it then. What is wrong with him? All right, I see it. Thank you. Let's see if I can.
See, objects don't fall at the same speed. As y'all can see right there, objects don't fall at the same speed. So that lets you know right there that an object don't fall at the same speed, as we can see right there.
Say it 4 times.
When we're dealing with the concept of speed, right?
Say it again.
When we're dealing with the concept of objects falling, objects fall due to the fact that objects are
I like Brian's comment. What if you make $9.2 the first minute, then 18 the second, and so on and so on? Gee, I'd be rich.
Yeah.
I'd have too much money.
Also, object fall is due to the amount of mass that it has and the air resistance that it has. The faster an object falls, the heavier object fall is due to the fact that it's heavier than the surrounding medium that it's in, and it has more air resistance. The more resistance an object have, the more it'll be able to fall, because the more mass you have, the more resistance that you have. So, as you can see right here, let's talk about the gravitational pull of the Earth from the moon to the Earth. Now, as y'all can see right here, the Earth right here, the pull of the Earth. You can see the oceans. They'll tell you high tides is, gravity is the Earth. The moon's gravity is the reason for high tides. Well, what you got to say about the high tides on the other side of the Earth, opposite side from the moon? Remember, gravity is supposed to be an attractive
on the opposite side of the moon.
What? Gravity pushing the why is gravity pushing the ocean tides on the other side of the moon on one side of the Earth? On the other side of the Earth. Look at this. The gravitational attraction, which means a force that pulls objects to each other, the mass of the Earth, the moon, or the planet for the bodies near the Earth's surface. A fundamental physical force that is responsible for interacting with which occur because of mass between particles, between aggregations of matter such as stars, planets, and between particles such as protons, the aggregation of matter that is 10 minus 39 to the power square times the strength of the strong force. So
did you get that number? 10 to the power of 39 power squared.
Right. I'm glad I'm not learning math off this guy.
Yeah.
This is a train wreck.
And I definitely wouldn't send him down the shop to go to the fruit shop to get vegetables.
10 to the 39 power squared.
Gravity is pulling the ocean tides. Then how is it pulling the ocean tides to the other side of the Earth? it wouldn't be able to do that. In order for moon's gravity to be pulling the ocean tides on the other side of the earth, there wouldn't be no high tide there. There will be a vortex in the earth because it's pulling the ocean towards the moon. So that's how we know that that's not what we talk about. So let's get off gravity and let's start proving flat earth. Why does the sun reflect off the ocean? These are two reasons behind this. First, when it comes to reflecting sunlight, seawater acts as smooth surfaces on the microscopic scale, a ripple, but locally smooth. Surface will reflect the sun at different angles, creating different observable images of the sun. And as y'all can see right here, these are different type of experiments that you can do at the house.
One
thing we know that the earth is flat and not a curve or not a ball is simply due to the fact when you pay attention to our sun at the beach, you will see that light reflects and travel. The light needs smooth surfaces to be able to travel more. If there's an interrupting surface like a curve, then the light would not even travel like that. These are different prime examples, as you can see right here. Here's a diagram right here, and this is what it's going to show you how the light actually reflect. As you see right here, the light will reflect up on the curve, but it won't do as much as on a flat earth. So now let's talk about why things converge at a horizon. Near the point of convergence distance is the distance from the near point of the convergence of the midpoint of the line connecting the surface of rotation, the center of rotation of the eye. Here's the science of the eye right here.
2 minutes remaining.
And here's the thing right here. So when we're dealing with the concept of the eye, why do we have convergent points? Because flat earthers say that things go over horizon due to convergent points and vanishing points. Light rays converge at the point before reaching the retina, and therefore are out of the focus of the retina. Here's the definition of vanishing points: a point at which receive the parallel lines to meet when perspective represented in linear perspective. Now let's continue. Here are examples of vanishing points. You can see the horizon lines and you can see the point of singularity. As y'all can see right here, we have a point of singularity due to the fact that our eyes are spherical. It's not the fact that there's a curve down there, but it's because your eyes are simply just spherical. That's just point blank period. So here's the thing. So now when we're talking about diffraction on the flat earth, the process by which a beam of light or other systems of waves is spreading as the result of passing through a narrow aperture or across the edge, typically accompanied by interference between the waves produced. And as y'all can see, these are different type of prime examples right here of how diffraction happens. And as y'all can see right here, here's the sun diffracting. Now, here's a scientific experiment that y'all can actually do at the house, or you can even do it at your job. And this is the sun, how it mimics. This is mimicking the sunset on the flat surface.
Well, this will be interesting.
Hello, everybody out there in YouTube land. Good time for all. There's Zachary Zabala here. We're going to do a...
What is this?
Empirical.
All right, folks. This is really neat. You got to check this out. The light is all the way on the ground. As you saw, I laid it down.
And on a concrete slab in a factory, the floor is going to be curved.
And the angles, like, precisely to see when all this stuff starts.
Well, yeah,
Here you'll get the mirroring effect at this distance. It's really neat because when you focus in on just a light,
Time.
Black.
Oh, time's up.
This time?
Yes, it is.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. That was a fire round right there. It's carbon.
Well, that was his bit. Didn't quite get to finish the light on the ground one.
Oh no! What a shame.
That was some pretty powerful dirt, wasn't it?
Wasn't it just?
Now, does he go again, or?
He does. A bit later, yeah.
This bit here, or is this Toon's?
Well, Toon does a rebuttal, and then he does his own 12-minute presentation.
Right.
Right. And
well, that goes to that bit there. Now, is Toon talking there?
Let me go to the slideshow part.
Oh, here we go. I've got to go back a bit again.
any refraction would be 3.37 degrees, and with refraction approximating 3.12 degrees, and then 269 degrees.
Gonna calculate this distance. You ain't calculated, you just gave us the equation and expected us to just go with the equation. You never even broke it down.
He didn't
so
calculate
let's show
anything.
y'all
Anyone
something, because
thinks I
he
should?
completely misrepresented my argument. I didn't say anything about masses not attracting to each other. It's called magnetism. So I know objects attract to each other. What I'm saying is this right here.
Oh, I love when
I'm
they think
saying
that gravity is magnetism.
this doesn't
How dumb.
exist. Objects falling constantly at 9.8 meters per second does not exist. All objects don't fall like that. And I just showed you objects falling and the heavier objects fell first. So nice straw man, but it ain't gonna work. So let's continue. Let's talk about seasons. Now on the seasons and eclipses.
This is the rebuttal, dummy.
See, globe earthers said that flat earthers ain't got seasons. As you can see right here, here's the summer solstice. This is the Tropic of Cancer. And then you got the Tropic of Capricorn, which is the Capricorn, which is the wintertime right here. So when we're talking about the seasons, the reason that it gets hot in the summertime in the northern hemisphere and cold in the wintertime in the southern hemisphere is because the sun is over our heads. This is just simple. If I take a heater and I put it over your head, you're gonna be hot. But if I take that heat away from you, you're no longer gonna be hot. And this is how we deal, and this is how our seasons work.
Some people are hot.
Now,
even
I'm gonna play this video real quick.
Am I right, Dora?
Hopefully this video can play. This is how our seasons work. For the people who think we ain't got seasons. Now pay attention to the sun, how it's way in the southern hemisphere.
The sun would never set.
And then it's gonna go into the northern hemisphere, which represents the summertime. The or the equator on the globe, on the flat earth, as you can see the red line right here. The equator on the flat earth is gonna represent the fall and the spring equinox, as you can see right here. Here's our seasons right here. Let me fast forward this a little bit because it's gonna take a while for that thing to go. Now, as y'all can see right here, and not only just that, you just saw an eclipse on this model. So not only did this model show an eclipse, but this model also showing seasons, and not only just that, but here's another model right here showing days and night.
It's just so dumb.
Days and night right here. So now watch this, because this gonna be in the nail in the coffin for this boy right here. Let me show y'all something real quick. Let me show y'all something. Now, as y'all can see right here, the moon and the sun is in the sky at the same time. This is the daytime. This is the nighttime. When I say, for instance, I'm in Mexico right here. When I go out when I go outside and I take a drink of my little Kool-Aid and I look up, I see that moon right there. And then I see the sun on the other side of me, just like Family Feud, just like a game of Family Feud with two different people with each other. That's 12 minutes.
No,
that was your rebuttal.
Oh, so that's it now?
Oh, Jesus.
No, you go with your 10 minutes now.
Okay. Right. All right, so now here's the sun and the moon in the sky.
Hold on, let me get the time ready.
You got it?
Yep, you can start. Start right now.
Okay, now here's the sun and the moon.
I wonder whose channel this was on. Not Toons, it was wherever else.
No, it was. Yeah, I can't remember what it was. Yeah, it wasn't Toon's channel. Oh, the Lion's Den.
The Lion's Den.
Yeah, never heard of them.
Ah.
Y equals negative 0.11x squared. Intersections of the strings, right?
How do eclipses happen? Due to the fact that the sun or the moon intercepts each other.
All right. How do solar eclipses happen? Or sorry, lunar eclipses. How do lunar eclipses happen? When the moon goes into a shadow, what causes that?
There ain't no shadow, sir.
Well, explain it. Where does it happen? How does it happen? And how do you predict it?
How do we predict it? We predict it of the motion of the sun and the moon. Both the sun and the moon, they move at different speeds.
Well, I'm asking you
A lunar
for
eclipse.
the mechanism that
Listen.
causes the shadow that the moon goes into. What is it?
Listen, the moon is pretty much, I'm gonna put it like this. The lunar eclipse is pretty much the moon going through her natural phases. This is why they call it a phase, because it's a development of light. It develops her light. She developed her light.
All right, so you can't answer. You can't explain.
I just answered the question.
But
no, you didn't.
That's not an answer. I mean, it's
He
again,
responded,
the moon
but he
gives
didn't
light,
answer it.
and you just say it just doesn't give
That's
light
my
for a
answer.
while.
That's
So
not
your
your
answer.
answer.
No,
That's
that's
my
responding,
answer.
not
It
answering.
just doesn't give light for a while. Awesome. Okay.
So
How
it
is
don't
it that?
give light?
How is it that Fred Espenak can predict the proper location on the face of the Earth to the minute that the next eclipse will happen for decades out? How does that happen?
I don't care about what that dude brought out. First of all, he would have to show scientific demonstrations, and he would have to break down those calculations to see if those
it's all in the books
calculations
that
are
he
actually.
publishes. Yeah, he's got them all. Right
I
here.
can't see that book.
Yeah.
The
Fred
screen blurry. I
Espenak, look it
can't
up.
see it.
The eclipse is predicted for decades out using the globe, using ELP 2000 model.
Using the globe, is it a big old? I'm pretty sure it's not a real large sun in there that he used to predict the
Absolutely
eclipses
is.
of
The
the
sun
Earth.
is 93 million miles away. And it's the VSOP 87 model of the solar system and the ELP 2000 model of eclipses. There you go. What is the airspeed of an unladen swallow?
African or Indian?
Unladen
European.
swallow.
Or European,
Yes.
sorry.
Bro, I never heard that word before.
What is your favorite color?
Dude, really? Next question.
What is the answer
Blue.
to life, the universe, and everything?
42.
This dude.
Yep.
Really, bro?
42
What is that?
is the correct answer.
You say 42?
The correct
you
answer is
talk about
42,
like-
yes.
You
Yes.
talk about like the laws
What
of my eye?
causes the specific magnitude of the downward acceleration that is 9.8 meters per second squared?
It's not 9.8 meters per second squared.
But it is. What is
No,
this?
it's not.
All right, well, please stick with that one. That's ridiculous. I love that.
Okay, just because you say it's ridiculous.
At what distance does the sun set?
What distance do the sun set? The sun, first of all, the sun don't set, it just move out of your field of view.
I didn't ask that. At what distance? Come on.
At what distance? No, you didn't ask me what distance. You just
At
said
what distance does the sun set?
Yeah.
The sun doesn't set.
At what? All right. When you can't see it anymore, people say it's set. So at what distance does the sun set?
I don't care if it said it don't set. I'm not other people.
Okay, let's say that
I'm
today
saying it don't set.
there's almost 8 billion people on the planet here. Every single one of us, except the ones that are at the North Pole and the South Pole, they see the sun set every single day. So just saying that it doesn't set doesn't do well for you. It just
that's
makes you
called
look kind of
convergent
desperate.
points.
So why?
That's called convergent points.
But at what distance does that happen?
What distance does that happen?
Yes.
Like around 8-9 miles.
Hey, so when the sun is 9 miles away from you, then why, when I am never closer than 9 miles away from the sun, because I live in Minnesota at 45 degrees north latitude, I'm never that close to the Tropic of Cancer. How come I can see the sun then if it's at 8 or 9 miles away?
Well, because probably you're not 8 or 9 miles away.
You think I'm closer than 8 or 9 miles from the Tropic of Cancer?
From the Tropic of Cancer? No, you're talking about the sun.
Exactly, I'm talking about the sun. What distance
Yes,
does
you're
the
talking
sun,
about the sun moving down the
At what
horizon.
distance can you not see the sun anymore?
You talk about the sun moving out of our field of view from the horizon.
The question is, at what distance can we no longer see the sun?
I just gave you the answer.
8 or 9 miles.
You say 8 or 9, yes.
That's all right. So I am more than 8 or 9 miles from the Tropic of Cancer. And the Tropic
I'm
of
not
Cancer
talking
is
about the
closest-
Tropic of
The
Cancer. I'm
Tropic
talking
of
about
Cancer
it
is the
literally out of your field of
yeah,
view.
but the Tropic of Cancer is the closest the sun ever gets to Minnesota on the summer solstice, and it's not 8 or 9 miles away. It's many thousands of miles away. So the sun, according to
No, it's
you,
not.
I should never see the sun in Minnesota.
According to you say I should never see this. You should never see the sun in Minnesota.
That's what you claim. Yeah.
Bruh, I'm saying that the sun moves out of your field of view 8 miles away.
Yeah, but the
I mean,
sun
like
is
8
closer
more-
than
8 or more
sorry.
miles.
The sun is much farther than 8 or 9 miles from Minnesota.
Bruh, we're talking about you talk about when it goes over the horizon, right? That's what
No,
you're
I'm talking about because there's always a point directly underneath
So
the
which
sun
one
on
are
the
you
Earth.
talking about, man? Are you talking about the Capricorn? I mean, the Cancer or the Sun going down the horizon? Which one you talking about?
The sun on the summer solstice, the June solstice, the sun travels on your model around the Tropic of Cancer, which is about 24 degrees north latitude. I am at 45 degrees north latitude, many thousands of miles away. How? Sorry, at what distance will it set? Because I'm more than 8 or 9 miles away from the Tropic of Cancer.
I just gave you. I said 8 or 9 miles or more.
But I'm already more than 9 miles away, so it never could. I could
Can't
never
wrap
see
his
it
head
according to
around
you.
it exactly.
No.
You say you should never see it. No,
You
you
say
ain't gonna
that.
ever see
You
it.
said that.
Okay, I tell you
because
what.
it's more than 9 miles away.
I tell you what. Can you show me a picture? Can you show me a picture of something where you was more than 9 miles
Sorry,
away?
this is my time to ask questions. This is my time.
I'm saying.
How far
okay,
away
yeah,
will the sun set? How far till I can't see it anymore?
8 to 9 miles or a little bit more.
But I can see it, and I'm more than 9 miles away from the Tropic of Capricorn or Tropic of Cancer. According to you, I could never see the sun.
It depends on. Check this out. It actually depends on if you got like high buildings or some stuff like that.
On the ground.
About at the ocean.
I'm
talking about like high buildings while you standing on the ground.
No, I was standing on the ground today, and I saw the sun, and it's more, according to you, it's more than 9 miles away because the Tropic of Cancer is many thousands of miles away from Minnesota.
Listen, I'm gonna say this again. Just because you don't accept my answer, I said 9 miles or more.
Okay,
8 to 9 miles or a little bit more.
According to you, the sun never rises in Minnesota. Got it. You gonna stick with that?
Yeah.
I think you baffled him.
All right. What causes the downward vector of the acceleration?
There ain't no downward vector. It's due to weight and density and air resistance.
What causes the vector? It goes down. You can't deny that there's.
Yeah, it does goes down, but there's not no force that causes it to go down.
Well, if you have a mass and it's accelerating, then the second law of motion, F equals ma, something is accelerating it. A force is accelerating.
Bro, that's y'all equation.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
what is the force?
That's y'all equation.
Time.
That was great. I love that. All right, let's have it, Takori.
All right, hey, you about to get clapped. Hey, I need a real picture of Antarctica right now that you said you was gonna get as a continent.
All right, this is the rabbit fire. I can't do that.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't do that?
Not in 30 seconds.
You said you was gonna bring one. You said you was gonna bring one.
You said you were gonna bring measurements. You didn't bring any measurements.
I did bring. Okay, I tell you what. Break those. I tell you what. Break those equations down right now in front of everybody.
Wait. We gotta get your 10 minutes in.
Okay.
We all can play after that.
All right, so is Takori 10 now?
Yes, it is.
Okay, Takori, your 10 is up to ask the questions. He has 30 seconds to answer. So to stop, like I said, to stop the long-winded answers and stuff. So let's go. Actually, you got 10 minutes to ask all your questions.
Hey, my brother.
Okay, y'all ready for me?
All right, so your 10 minutes starts now.
Hey, I got a quick
Michael.
question. Can y'all hear me?
Hold on.
No, this is Kansu. This is Kansu.
Yeah.
I have a quick question. This is one of the judges. I have a quick question. Will the judges be able to question the debaters?
I was gonna ask that after this too, because I want.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, you have 2 questions apiece to ask them.
Great. All right. Perfect.
You already know how it goes.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, Corey, you go.
Okay, hey, Michael. What's 25 times 28? Real quick.
42.
It's 700. See, that's what I'm talking about. This is first, and he don't even know first grade math, but he's giving us advanced equations that he don't even know. So since you don't even know first grade math, how do you explain how do you explain the sun and the moon in the sky at the same time on a globe Earth model?
There's no problem with that at all. I don't know why you think that's.
Oh, there's no problem with that.
Right. Let's imagine. Do you see me? You see me here? Let's imagine that you are. You ready? This is gonna be crazy. Let's imagine that you are the sun, right? You're viewing the Earth from the sun. Imagine you're a lot farther away, and let's imagine that this is the moon, right? Now, if somebody on the Earth right here, somebody on the Earth see the sun and the moon at the same time?
Sir,
They
I'm talking
certainly
about
can.
the sun and the moon on each side of the sky.
Yes, exactly, right here. No
Sir,
problem at all.
I actually did the experiment.
No problem at all.
Don't interrupt.
No
us, 30
interruptions.
seconds.
No interruptions. No interruptions.
He was interrupting me the whole time.
No, don't. He got 30 seconds. Let him get it in.
All right. If you are the sun and this is the moon, people in Australia could see both at the same time.
You done?
Yep.
So based off how how big the moon is and how big the sun is, it's gonna seem like they overlapping each other based off how big it is due to perception, right?
Perception.
If they're like this, then they would
So
overlap.
what about them on each side of each other? Because by time
right here.
spin, then if that's the case, then they won't be able to see it. The person on the side of Australia will not see it. They will not.
There's nothing in the way between Australia and the moon, and there's nothing in the way between Australia and the sun. Australia can see the sun and the moon at the same time. No
Sir,
problem.
first of all, remember you said your sun was 93 million miles away from here.
Yes, yeah. This
and
is
you
not
said
to scale,
that your
of course.
moon.
Not to
So
scale.
you ain't bring no model of it today, didn't you?
You would bring what? Dude, plug into your Ethernet cable.
You didn't bring no model with you today, huh?
Well, I got one right here.
No, dude, that's not a model. Okay, so
It's
now
a physical
let's
model.
continue.
Actually, it's better than that.
So since we know that you don't know, since we know that you don't even know first grade math, because I just told you what was 28 times 25, which is 700. Oh, you got 25 divide to 4, you get 7. So you don't even know your real math. So all those equations that you put, you get thrown.
Sorry, doing arithmetic off the top of my head doesn't prove anything.
What's 30? What's 30 times 90?
42.
So you don't know. Okay.
It doesn't matter to be able to do.
What's 80 times 9?
I didn't expect you to do arithmetic or trigonometry.
If you don't even know how to do simple math, you can't tell me about arithmetic, pre-calculus, or any of that. You can't tell me about that.
I certainly can. Absolutely, yes.
No, you can't. So we don't even know if the measurements you got was right.
Sorry.
So now here's another.
Hey, ask the
Answer his
question.
question. So let him answer his question.
If the moon
Yeah,
is
it's a
solid,
question. You can make a little reply, but you can't turn it into an argument.
okay, my bad. It's solid. If the moon is solid,
I didn't hear you ask a question. A couple meters is all you. It's not that hard. I don't know why there's a problem with that, but.
Okay. We're going to the judging. The first person we'll go to Abdul because he said he
Weeboo
he didn't
Metalhead
know which
says,
way
well, that
we
was
could see if any of his questions or any of the other judges' questions change his mind. Let's go, Abdul.
Yeah.
You'd have to edit that all the way through it to get the bits out of it there.
Yeah.
Or we'll leave that there.
That was extremely painful.
It was pretty derpy, wasn't it?
Don't know why, but I kept thinking of Bubba Gump Shrimp whilst he was talking. Can't think why though.
Has Blue got a video?
Oh yeah.
Anyone want
Prepare yourself for this one.
Anyone want to watch Blue video?
Yeah, why not? It's a good one.
No.
No?
Blue don't want to watch it though. I can sympathise actually, but yeah.
Well, I found the play button.
Go on then.
Okay. I'm sorry, everyone.
No, you're not.
Look at my face.
Oh yeah, I can see how sorry you are.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Blue Marble Science. Brian's logic is going to tell us where Earth's radius comes from. In fact, Brian said this.
I guarantee you not one person in our opposition will be able to come up with an origin to their radius value.
Oh, you want to bet we can't tell you, Brian? Watch this. Warning. Severe facial and monitor damage alert is in effect. Get out those oven mitts, push the monitors back out of punching range, and let's light this dumpster fire and have some fun.
So, now the nitty gritty, right? So how did they do it, right? How did they come up with this calculation? Well, this is how it works. I'm not going to show orthographic view here. I'm going to show what happens in reality, right? So if this is the GP point of Polaris here, and this is an observer, right? The closer the observer is to the GP point, the higher Polaris will appear to be in the sky.
It's actually a strange way of drawing stuff, Brian, but what you're showing really is two orthographic projections. The upper half of the page is a front orthographic projection, and the lower half is a plan orthographic projection. You got two of them there. Do you know what orthographic means, Brian?
Right. So the angle to Polaris for the observer here will be, let's just say, a pretty high angle, right, to Polaris here, right? As the observer moves back, Polaris will appear to drop in the sky.
Got it, Brian. Let's just let the dots do the GeoBer get down. Take it away, boys.
They found the doctor in the corner to an element left that corner. Now grand right and left you do it, grand right and left you go. Gonna meet your lady boxer now. Then you walk right by.
Question, Brian. How can angles taken from a flat baseline stretching from the observer to the GP of Polaris result in a constant 60 nautical miles
I've got
per
those
degree
images.
of latitude
Keep them
change?
from rainy days.
That just doesn't work. You know where it does work? It works perfectly on a globe.
Why is this so important? I'm going to use this. This is the Gleason's map, but it has the latitude and longitude going on, so enough. So I'll show it with this. So if we take a line, say annotate line, and we go to the center here. Let's say that's the GP point of Polaris, and we come out to the equator here. Where's the equator? Yeah, there it is. Right? Yeah, that's the equator. So what they did is they knew that anywhere on the equator, it's going to be 5,400 minutes of degree of measurement to the GP point of Polaris.
They just knew that 5,400 arc minutes was the distance from the pole to the equator. How did they just know that, Brian? You don't suppose that maybe they knew it was a sphere and that a quarter of a sphere is 90 degrees and there are 60 arc minutes in a degree? You don't suppose that's where 5,400 arc minutes came from, do you?
They knew this, right? And they knew that measurement was going to be a horizontal distance.
No, Brian, it made sense to define the distance from the pole to the equator as 5,400 nautical miles. That way, 1 nautical mile equals 1 minute of arc. They didn't know it. They defined it to be that.
So they knew that if they doubled that and put a person here and another person over at the other side here, at the other side of the of Polaris here at the equator, sorry, this is it. Then that would be 10,800 nautical miles. And then if they added on the same again at either side, so they added on another 5,400 here, so that'll make a 10,000. That'll give them a 10,800 nautical mile distance from the GP of Polaris to 90 degrees south, and another one from the opposite side, from the GP of Polaris to 90 degrees south again. That gives them 21,600 nautical miles, which is 21,600 nautical miles of a straight line. And what did they do from there? Well, if we go back to GeoBer, right? What they did is this. So let's just say this line here represents 21,600 nautical miles. So if I just get a circle with a center, and I just go to here, make a whatever, right? If I just get a line, where are we? Segment value. Open here. Yeah, that's exactly the way it does on the map. Now, so if this line here, I just change its color, just to make it a bit more viewable. I change the color of this to green, right? So if this line here represents 21,600 nautical miles, right?
Wait a minute. You said the other line was 21,600 miles.
Yeah,
which
which line is
is
he
it?
talking about?
Of flat horizontal measurement, right? If you then take this and turn it into a circle, it becomes this, let's just say, right? So they took what was a frontal perspective view, right? If I just go back to back to here a sec. They took this, right, and the measurements that were made using this view, right, and they turned it into a circle. So they had measured 21,600. They knew that they could have 21,600 nautical miles of horizontal. Basically, if you want to treat the latitude and longitude grid as a circle, then that would be the diameter of that circle. So they had 21,600 nautical miles. They turned that into, they took that, put it into orthographic view like I'm showing here, and turned it into a circle. So when that happens, we go to the calculator here a second. So 21,600, right? 21,600. So you want to get the radius of that. So you're going to divide it. So what you're going to do is divide it. So divide it by 3.14, right?
Wait a minute, Brian. You already told us that the distance from the pole to the equator is 5,400 miles. So the diameter at the equator has to be 10,800 miles.
Equals 6878.98 and change nautical, right? Nautical miles of diameter, right? So now, even though that can't be a diameter under these circumstances, I'm not going to go into that. I'm just going to use the number, right?
Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. The great Oz has spoken.
So, because it's just maths, you can do what you want. This is the beauty of maths. So then they divided it again. So then they have a diameter that they took from a 21,600 nautical mile circumference that they made up out of a 21,600
dreams that that you had you want him to do you so much you could do anything.
Gives them 3439.49044 and change, right? In that would be a nautical mile. That would be a nautical mile calculation, but that is not correct because, well, I say it's not correct. You can have a nautical mile. Obviously, that can be a nautical mile radius here, right? But they didn't want it as nautical. That like of a circle, you can have a nautical mile radius, right? But the problem is that what they did is they converted that to statute miles.
Brian, you can convert it to furlongs or leagues or rods or anything else you like. What difference would that make?
So when we convert that, so if I go to convert length, nautical miles to miles, convert 3958.0949152570700064. So that's 3949.0949152570700064.
Brian, do you realize you got that number by dividing by pi to 2 decimal places? I think it would be safe to quit after 2 decimals.
Statute miles. And they rounded that off to 3,959. Rounded it off up the way to 3,959. And that's where their radius came from.
Let's summarize what you did, Brian. What you effectively said was they knew the distance from the pole to the equator was 5,400 nautical miles, but you never told us how they knew that. What you did from that point was show us that the circumference of a circle is 2 pi times its radius. Now, yes, in fact, if you have a circle that's 21,600 nautical miles in circumference, the diameter is going to be 6,875 nautical miles, and the radius is going to be 3,438 nautical miles. That's equal to 3,959 statute miles. The one point you skipped over is your statement that we knew the distance from the pole to the equator was 5,400 nautical miles. That number is simply the distance across the surface of a sphere subtended by 5,400 arc minutes if the circumference of the circle is 21,600 nautical miles. So let's talk about where the numbers really came from. The fact that the Earth is a sphere has been known since the time of Pythagoras and Aristotle. In fact, Aristotle reasoned that the Earth had to be spherical simply by watching lunar eclipses. He reasoned that the only shape that could cast a shadow like that on the moon would be another sphere. The circumference of the Earth has been known and measured with increasing accuracy since the time of Eratosthenes. Now, a lot of people have done that experiment. In fact, I did it. It's the very first video on this channel. Obviously, if you know the circumference, you know the radius. So you want to know where the radius comes from? That's where it comes from. But let's dig a little deeper. Several methods of measurement are possible. The method used by Eratosthenes is very accurate if you know the distance to the GP of the sun. But another method is to measure the distance along a meridian arc subtended by the known change in altitude angle to a celestial object like a star, Polaris for instance. In 1670, John Picard measured the radius of the Earth to be the equivalent of 6,329 kilometers. And that's within about 0.5% of the modern polar value of 6,357 kilometers. He did that by measuring the distance along the Paris meridian from Paris to a clock tower near Amiens, France. Let's fast forward about 120 years, and Jean Delambre made a more accurate measurement of the Paris meridian from Dunkirk to Barcelona. That's a distance of about 1,100 kilometers. That measurement was used to establish the length of the meter, which the French Academy of Sciences had defined as being 1/10,000,000th of the distance from the equator to the North Pole. The angular separation between Barcelona and Dunkirk is a percentage of the distance from the equator to the pole. That's also a percentage of 10 million meters from the equator to the pole, as the meter had been defined to be. The unit of measure used by Delambre, which was a common unit in that time period in France, was the toise, which is roughly 2 meters. By extrapolating from the measured distance between Dunkirk and Barcelona, the distance from the pole to the equator was determined to be 5,130,740 toises. And since that distance had to equal 10 million meters, a meter was determined to be 0.513074 toises. So there you have it. The distance from the equator to the North Pole is 10 million meters. Therefore, the circumference of the Earth is 40 million meters, and from that, the radius, r, is simply 40 million divided by 2 pi, or 6,366,198 meters. The average modern day value is about 5 kilometers more than that, but that's just due to our ability to measure things a little bit more accurately than they could 200 years ago. That only leaves one question. Where does the nautical mile come from? Well, a nautical mile is therefore 10 million meters divided by 5,400 arc minutes in a quarter meridian, and that is equal to 1,851.85 meters. Today we use a value of 1,852 meters as the nautical mile. So you said nobody could tell you where the radius value comes from, Brian? I think I just did. Hey, thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget the like and subscribe button down there. There's a link to the Patreon and PayPal if you want to support the channel. And with that, I'll see you guys on the next one. Poor Brian.
Poor Brian, my ass. He just confuses himself, doesn't he?
Yeah, just cannot manage to get his head out of his ass. I don't think he sees the problem with what he did. I don't think he has any clue.
No, he obviously has no clue. Yeah.
No, not at all.
Either, well, something's really wrong. If 5,400 nautical miles is the true distance from the pole to the equator, according to what he was showing there, then the distance around the equator has to be something like 40,000 statute miles. Don't you think somebody would have fucking noticed?
I think they would have.
By now? Either that, or if the circumference at the equator is actually, the distance there is actually 24,900 miles, then the distance to the pole is way short of 5,400 nautical miles. You're missing 2,000 nautical miles. I think somebody would have noticed that too. Jeez. But looking on the bright side, at least he's managed to memorize pi to 2 decimal places. I count that.
That's an achievement for him, I think.
Yeah, that is, yes. I wonder if he knows you can pull up a calculator that's actually got pi on already in it. Nah, that's too easy.
Everett Anderson, Flat Earth Shadow Research. What? What's Everett done?
Finds all these flat earthers.
Oh God, it's that guy.
Oh, it's that guy, is it?
I was at a party yesterday and talking to this Russian engineer guy who lives in my building, and the topic of flat Earth came up.
Fun will now commence.
So I said one of the reasons I don't believe we live on a globe is because we can see a lot further than possible on the globe.
Oh, for 5 minutes. Could you not be yourself? For 5 minutes!
And he came back right away and said, well, that's because light travels around the curve, basically. I forgot exactly how he said it. That's basically, but he was saying, he was bringing up the refraction argument.
Unscrupulous! Thoroughly unscrupulous!
You know, the other side has this argument that light can bend around the curvature of Earth so that you see something that really isn't there.
Welcome to hell, bitch!
So if refraction is a real thing, that means I should see these cars before they come over that hill, over that curve. the Earth.
What?
The car bipped at him.
Is it supposed to be stupid?
It's not stupid. It's advanced.
We see much further than we're supposed to. And if that's not the case, then how come I'm not seeing these cars before they come over the hill? If light's just getting looped around curves. So tonight's main event, Globe Earth versus Flat Earth.
Behold, my I don't careinator!
If the Earth is a sphere,
Why is everyone so fucking stupid?
turning away from the sun to cause night and day,
Hey, thinking hurts him. Maybe I can think of a way to use that. Aha! Prepare to be thought at.
the Earth's shadow itself will be cast upon any vertical object placed upon it. Let's see what happens.
Good. Do it. Because I have no time for shenanigans. No time.
And there it is, folks.
Did we just lose?
That means any skyscraper should have the shadow of the Earth itself cast upon it.
This day extracts a heavy toll.
So, guys,
I can't see what he's even trying to.
Right, and you are wrong. Ha 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 ha. La 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 la.
He's talking about the shadow of the ball when it goes around its shadow on the building. I don't think I'll try to analyse it too much. I'll get a headache.
No. Yeah, you would. Yeah, I don't worry about it.
How about something a bit more educational from Anton?
Oh yeah.
This is a summary of the major James Webb's galactic discoveries so far. So
cool.
That's this is his most recent, so he's given us a summary. So that'll be good. Yes, Wolfie released a 2-minute video on Foucault duty. I'll see if I can squeeze that in. Okay. You got all that? There we go.
Yeah.
And why do I keep seeing a picture of you over there?
I don't know.
And the caption was, "Farmer isn't impressed." So that must have been back before. Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, Brainery took a screenshot.
No.
Does not stop surprising us pretty much every single day. So many new observations and so many new discoveries have already been made in such a short time, with more and more papers coming out every single day exploring some new detail that was missed previously. But because the James Webb Telescope was originally designed to look into the extremely distant part of the universe and to try to detect something pretty much at the edge of the observable universe, most of the new surprises actually are coming to us from these extremely far distances, essentially when the universe was only a few 100 million years old. And so today I wanted to summarize some of these new discoveries from just the last few weeks, with the main focus essentially being these really distant galaxies and the discoveries from the edge of the universe, the observable universe. Well, first of all, you have to remember that the main strength of the telescope lies in the ability to detect infrared light. And because of the acceleration of the expansion of the universe, essentially some of the earliest ultraviolet light over the period of the past 13.5 billion years has now been shifted into certain infrared frequencies. which means that all these early galaxies that were very powerful and producing a lot of UV light, mostly due to the extremely powerful stars that these galaxies were made from, would actually have most of their light shifted into the infrared frequencies because of the travel across the universe. And this creates a kind of a sweet spot for the James Webb Telescope somewhere right here in this particular wavelength. And interestingly, even though originally a lot of scientists were arguing that, well, for the most part, most of the early galaxies would probably only start forming about 400 million years after the formation of the universe, after the beginning of the Big Bang, a few studies proposed something entirely different. They actually proposed that a lot of galaxies might have started forming much earlier, which ironically is exactly what the James Webb observations have right now been discovering, even in this very preliminary data, with all of these new discoveries uncovering galaxies in patches of dark space where nothing was previously visible. But the majority of the discoveries so far coming from this one observation of this galactic cluster, SMACS J0723, that essentially has this relatively powerful gravitational lens in the middle of it, formed by the galactic cluster with a lot of mass. We've discussed this in more detail in one of the previous videos you can find in the description. But because of the design of the telescope, its strength is really in detecting galaxies between 100 and 250 million years after the universe began. Which is exactly why suddenly, even after just a few hours of observations, the telescope started to discover all of these galaxies present in this image. So before I show you what the scientists recently found, quick reminder about what redshift means and how redshift works, because that's the unit used in measurements of the distances or the age of these galaxies. So objects moving away from us will have all of their light redshifted. It's going to have much lower frequency. And so instead of measuring things in light years, because of these ridiculous distances, it's much easier to study things using redshift. A redshift of 1 means that the light traveled for approximately 7.7 billion years. But the galaxy in this case is about 10.1 billion light years away from us because of the expansion of the universe and because the expansion is also accelerating. Redshift of 2 represents 10.3 billion years, and well, the other values are in this table. So as you can see, it's not really a linear progression, but there is a formula to calculate all of this. Although notice how this table kind of ends at redshift of 10. That's because it's a slightly older table, and up until recently, none of the more distant objects have ever been discovered. But in the last couple of years, they have been found. And specifically, first at the redshift of 11, then 13, and now, well, take a look at this picture. We have all sorts of redshifts present in here. Anything from 13.4, 15.3, and even 16.3. All of this from the James Webb observations. And in this case, in these other observations, there's even at least one candidate with a redshift of potentially 18.1. With one of the first discoveries being the galaxy known as Glass Z13 that we've discussed in the previous video, that seems to represent the galaxy that's approximately 300 million years old. But because these new discoveries are coming in super fast and the scientists are actually having trouble catching up to each other and basically keeping everyone informed, most of the scientists, instead of relying on typical publications, which usually takes at least a few days or possibly a few weeks to produce, have now mostly gone on Twitter to share all of their observations and to share their discoveries. For example, here's a beautiful color image of a galaxy at a redshift of 16.7, approximately 235 million years old. This would be about 35 billion light years away from us, and was recently tweeted by Adam Carnell, whose student created this image. You can find the links for all of these in the description below. Here's another galaxy slightly closer at a redshift of 14, but with a slightly cooler story and a slightly cooler name. It's now unofficially referred to as the Macy's Galaxy, because Stephen Finkelstein, who discovered this, and who showed it to his daughter, discovered it on his daughter's birthday, and she really wanted to have a galaxy named after her. And her name is Macy, and so I think he has a right to name it Macy's Galaxy. And since we're talking about Macy, here's her picture. Happy belated birthday, Macy. In this case, this was discovered using a slightly different survey known as SEERS. And from what they've discovered so far, they think this is a highly active galaxy forming a lot of stars, but located in a region where nobody expected, much earlier in the existence of the universe. So definitely, once again, something that the scientists did not expect to find. With this other study we've discussed previously, even finding at least a few galaxies at what seems to be the redshift of 20, which would place them around 180 million years after the formation of the universe. But more importantly, a lot of them seem to also be shaped like disks, which is really unexpected because it's always been believed that disk-shaped galaxies or spiral galaxies would take much longer to produce. Yet the study right here did discover a lot of disk shapes at relatively faraway distances, something that's I guess slightly better visible in these images produced by the James Webb. Now obviously these are not super high quality images, but they do resemble typical disk shapes or typical spiral galaxies. Here are some of the more distant ones discovered in this study. And for astronomers, this is really unexpected, mostly because of the previous observations from the Hubble telescope. When the scientists started using Hubble, they essentially concluded that a lot of distant galaxies are mostly irregularly shaped because of the way that they believed galaxies form, and it would actually take a few 100 million years for galaxies like the Milky Way to start forming. And to some extent, the computer simulations from the last few decades have also proved this to be correct. Galaxies start as irregular and eventually form into disks. This does take a few 100 million years. But that's not what the observations from the James Webb seem to suggest. There seem to be up to 10 times as many distant disk galaxies as initially thought, and many of them already have relatively stable shapes. And currently, obviously, nobody knows why. Moreover, at least one other paper from just a couple of days ago has also discovered that a lot of massive galaxies formed much earlier in the universe than was previously believed. And specifically, they discovered that centers of various massive galaxies have already formed and were already stable approximately 500 million years after the universe began, with many of them to some extent resembling some of the galaxies we find not so far away from our own home right now. And it's not just the mass, the size, or the structure. Analysis of some of these early galaxies has already revealed that a lot of them were very rich in a lot of different complex elements such as oxygen. And that's sort of unexpected because these complex chemical elements are sort of expected to appear a little bit later. Yet, surprisingly, a huge amount of these elements was discovered in some of these distant galaxies. The scientists expected to mostly find hydrogen and helium, but they found much heavier elements, which suggested that a lot of stars formed much quicker and then went supernova much quicker as well. But not all unusual discoveries came from the edge of the universe. Some of them came from other periods that we thought we understood pretty well. There's this one period known as the cosmic noon, and this is a period approximately 3 billion years after the formation of the universe, when the star formation peaked in the entire universe, and when most of the light was created, with the universe being at its brightest. And interestingly, the observations from this time suggest that the massive galaxies that existed back then, for some reason, looked much smaller in size, at least compared to the galaxies detected by the Hubble telescope from the same period. Now, it doesn't mean that the Hubble was wrong, this just means that the images from the Hubble telescope were slightly biased toward much larger galaxies. We did not see the smaller ones which are now visible with the James Webb. And this kind of changes our perspective on how we believe galaxies evolve over time. Originally, the Hubble telescope studies suggested that the galaxies start small and grow bigger and bigger over time, mostly through the process of collisions with other galaxies and potentially by absorbing more mass from the outside. Yet Webb seems to suggest something else. According to the Webb telescope, the galactic evolution seems to be much more complicated and is not as linear as we initially thought. It basically suggests that some galaxies might even reduce size and some other galaxies might actually stay the same size for a very long period of time and do not increase in size as linearly as initially thought, which made a lot of astronomers in the last few weeks basically question everything they knew about the formation of galaxies, formation of stars, and essentially the universe as a whole. Now, obviously for us, living here on planet Earth, this might not really have much effect. But in terms of cosmology and in terms of our understanding of the formation of the universe, this is a pretty big deal. This essentially means that the scientists might have to rework a lot of things they knew about the formation of the universe from the beginning, and it also means that in the next couple of years, we're going to be discovering a lot of things that will basically rework everything about cosmology, with some of the current explanations suggesting that there might have been something in the universe, or there probably is something in the universe, that seems to quench the formation of stars and seems to also quench the growth of galaxies, making them grow much smaller or possibly even having them decrease in size. It could be something to do with black holes and the super powerful jets coming from massive black holes in the center of various galaxies, Centaurus A right here is a pretty good example. This is our neighbor, but it could also be something entirely different, a phenomenon we still do not understand and know nothing about. And so James Webb Telescope in this case is this one tool that will hopefully help us understand the universe a little bit better. For example, maybe it will help us understand, like this other study that you can find in the description discovered, why there are so many red spiral galaxies existing in the early universe, even though there are practically none in the universe today. In this case, red spiral galaxies are galaxies where there is practically no star formation at all. And there's also a lot of dust that ends up making a lot of light coming from the galaxies much redder than it would be otherwise. And so for all we know, there could be a completely new population of galaxies existing in the early universe that we didn't know existed until James Webb revealed them very recently. And so if a bunch of these unusual red galaxies existed in the early universe and no longer exist in the modern universe, well, that's another mystery to solve in some of the future studies. But shockingly enough, all of these discoveries have only been made in the last couple of weeks. Imagine what we're going to be seeing by the end of the year. James Webb seems to have already confused a lot of astronomers out there, and it's only going to be producing more data as the time goes on. Which I guess means that you should probably subscribe if you'd like to learn more about what the scientists find in the next few weeks, few months, or few years. I'm definitely going to be following up on all of these studies in the future videos, and until then, thank you for watching, share this with someone who loves learning about space and sciences, come back tomorrow to learn something else, and maybe support this channel on Patreon by joining channel membership or by buying the Wonderful Person t-shirt that now also features James Webb Telescope in the description below. Either way, stay wonderful, I'll see you tomorrow, and as always, bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Yeah, so much to learn.
Oops.
And how long's the James Webb going to be able to hang out for before the new one gets launched?
That's the plan. I guess now, really, the only thing that will limit is how much damage it continues to take.
Mm.
Yeah, they're looking at 20 or 30 years, aren't they?
Yeah, because I think once it got into position, it got more fuel than they thought it was going to have.
Yeah, they didn't have to do hardly any burn corrections on the way out there, so they're left. I mean, it was a near bullseye.
Yeah,
as far as the launch goes. So they're left with extra fuel. Well, it's going to continue to take smacks from meteor, little meteors.
Micrometeorites, what if they called?
Yeah. Yeah, providing they don't get hit by anything, of a substantial size, and yeah, should carry on for years. But you can't predict that sort of thing, can you?
No.
Well, all the damage does is just degrade the quality of the images slightly.
Yeah.
And if the big one's going to wipe out, do you think it'd see it coming?
No. No, if you're going to get run over by a Volkswagen, yeah, you're in trouble. These are tiny little things. Grain of sand or smaller,
And you think that the entire country of New Zealand is moving. Where is it moving to? I don't think we'd like it over here. It can stay over there. It can stay over there.
Yeah.
Is it not happy where it is?
Don't know. I know a lot of New Zealanders come over here, but they don't have to move their whole country over here. Park it off over the out off the coast here. Oh, I lost your share. Sorry. There you go. And then I'll grab that. one from Wolfie after we finish this to finish off.
Cool.
Or it gets too late. Press
Could you press play, please, Terry?
That's it.
The Mandela effect is a phenomenon which I've looked at a few times. And it's a tricky one because the Mandela effect is actually a thing. But then when you also attribute that thing to shifting universes, then you're inviting yourself onto Tinfoil Tuesday. Hello all and welcome along to another episode of Tinfoil Tuesday with me, Simon Dan. Thank you very much for joining me. Before we begin today, a huge thank you to the sponsors of today's video, 15 Degree Drift Industries. Thanks, Bob. If you are looking for a way to prove the stationary nature of Earth, but then inadvertently prove its rotation, then look no further than 15 Degree Drift Industries. They will walk you through the full 3-step process of experimental failure before coming up with that famous 15 degree drift result. To be part of this wonderful opportunity, please visit 15degreedrift.com/thanksbob and use the code BUSTED. Wow. That was weird. Right, back to today's video where we'll be discussing the Mandela effect. And in particular, a YouTuber called Mandela Effect Quantum Stuff Texas Danny. And Danny seems to have discovered something about New Zealand. For those of you who aren't aware what the Mandela effect is, it's a phenomenon by which you believe something has changed compared to what you remembered it before. And it's a mass remembering. For example, Darth Vader did not say, "Luke, I am your father." He said, "No, I am your father." It's basically collective false memories and nothing more than that. However, some people out there think it's a symptom of shifting dimensions or some other nonsense. And I think this is the road that Texas Danny's going down. Let's hear him out.
Hey everybody, hello, this is Texas Danny coming to you from the Pizza Parlor in North Central Texas. Currently, today's date is Tuesday, April the 12th, 2022. It's about 3:45 in the afternoon here in Texas.
Thanks for the update, Danny.
This is a report on Australia and New Zealand and the waters between, the quantum changes that are occurring and that are happening now. This is a notification and advisory for all quantum affected in both Australia and New Zealand, all quantum affected, all Mandela affected in Australia and New Zealand about quantum movements that we are having.
Now, does this affect anyone or just certain people? How do they know if they've been affected, or is anyone affected?
We have had Melbourne move its location.
Have we now? Well, how can you prove this? Are you just expecting everyone to believe you? Or is it just that your memory's bad and you thought it was somewhere else?
In Australia. Some time ago, I noted where Melbourne was, and Melbourne has moved. Repeat, Melbourne has moved in Australia, but we have vast changes all over Australia.
You noted the position of Melbourne.
Melbourne
on
moved?
a map or in your mind?
Now, New Zealand is in flux right now. It's in some amazing circumstances. I would like to give credit and thanks to Ocean Girl Australia. That's right. I had seen the situation, and I hadn't come up with it exactly what the situation was, but I had observed it, and I knew something was off, but she was able to focus exactly what happened. And this, let me give you a briefing on this. The entire island of New Zealand, both the north and south section, are moving.
Oh, that must be a bit scary for the residents of New Zealand. A moving island. Plan a walk and Viva la Dirt League. I hope you're okay, guys.
Currently moving. Now, in relations to those who are from the old Earth, who remember that New Zealand used to be much further north and Australia's further south. Australia used to be kind of off on just the slight northeast angle of the east coast of Australia.
The thing is, I remember New Zealand in the position that it's in now, because I actually looked at maps properly when I was younger and I remembered their locations.
Now, what has happened is the North Island has reconfigured and moved over to the southwest. Note here Auckland, which is, I've got some observation points in Auckland, New Zealand on the North Island. And this is not New Zealand, but this is kind of giving you an idea of what it used to look like on the north side as opposed to here. So take this area out right here, okay? Move this down to approximately here, and it used to be a much more north-south kind of orientation.
Nope. Take a look at these examples of New Zealand. Every single one of them showing how it looks now and how it's always looked. And here is a picture of New Zealand from space, so you can see what it actually looks like.
Well, it went from, in its relationships to the South Island, it went over and moved southwest. You see, take the pen, say this is, ignoring this for the moment, this is the South Island of New Zealand, there's Christchurch, North Island, Auckland. It moved over, where it used to be a much more north and south orientated position, and it came on over. I'd say 20 degrees, that's a rough guess.
You see, I've never thought New Zealand ever looked like that. And you can bet your bottom dollar that no New Zealander ever thought it looked like that either. But trust the man from Texas, everyone. He definitely knows.
Also, these are not size exact, but I'm just giving you, it's approximately 1,000 miles. Even though the standards are not changing on me right now, I believe we do have closings. I believe we definitely have closings that the mileage is not being adjusted and changed for it.
Well, it's actually 2,500 miles from New Zealand to Australia, and for most of recorded history, it's always been that. Well, the Pacific Plate is slowly moving both of the islands, but not in the way that Danny is suggesting.
But again, New Zealand is still moving further towards Antarctica. And I believe on the long, slow track, it's going to either come much closer to Antarctica or actually join it. And this will come in with conjunctions with the time waves. Again, we have New Zealand has reconfigured and come over, moved southwest when it used to be configured different. Melbourne used to be in a slightly different location. It's moved several miles over. We have all the changes going up to Sydney. Alice Springs is a place to note. Also Perth, also the north areas of Australia. This is just an indication of how we're going to be going and how we're going to change.
Now, are we really supposed to believe this Texan and his ramblings about Australia and New Zealand based off of his limited geography of that area? Or do we acknowledge that he is right and things are changing? I'll let you decide.
All quantum changes will update to the date they are shown.
And this is why these people will never accept that they are wrong. Because according to them, everything has changed in the past as well. So all maps have changed to match this new reality, including 50-year-old maps as well.
For example, this is now April the 12th, 2022, Tuesday. I just got April 2022. Well, if you're looking at this, say in the year, let's say 2100 exactly. Let's say it's the dawn of the 22nd century. It's the year 2100 exactly, and it's April. The maps, the information is going to update. The pictures, except for my hand drawings, should not update. They still should see the same.
Here we go, a window in. Let's wait a few years then and see if reality is different to your handmade drawings.
But these are the changes, and I believe these are because of the radius and the scope closing in. This is just one section of an Earth, one example. You could go anywhere on Earth and come up with numerous examples easy. So please note how we are changing. Keep your eye on Tasmania, and of course of all of Australia, all of New Zealand. This area just to the east of Christchurch is a quantum area. That area, it used to be come right up against the coast, and it came out, and it's indicative of the quantum tracks that are placed in here, and just east of Christchurch.
But why? What is the reason for adding this small peninsula? Who does it benefit?
So, again, New Zealand is going to keep tracking, and this is a quantum advisory for all Australian quantum affected, Mandela affected, all New Zealand Mandela affected, quantum affected, that we are headed further southeast, and you are all tracking, at least for New Zealand. Separate that from Australia. We are tracking towards Antarctica. Thank you very much. Texas Danny out.
What an absolute load of nonsense. Of course, we will be visiting Tex and Danny again at some point. He's got an absolute bucket load of videos for us to look at. But for now, we are all done and dusted for another Tinfoil Tuesday. Thank you so much for watching. It's truly is appreciated. If you enjoyed today's episode, please do consider subscribing to the channel. And if you really enjoyed it, hit that like button too. Just enough time to once again thank 15 Degree Drift Industries for sponsoring today. Remember, to be part of it, visit 15degreesdrift.com/thanksbob and use the code BUSTED. I've been Slimeman Dan. Have yourselves a great day, and I'll see you all tomorrow for another Misconception Mini. See you then.
Bonkers. Absolutely bonkers.
So are they putting in the formula for the flight trackers for flying over there? Because it's going to be a further distances are going to be different, so they'll have to have a formula for that.
What, due to quantum?
Yeah.
This is a quantum warning. Yeah, which is what?
Okay. Which is back there for now. I'll grab that mini from Wolfie and that'll only go for a couple of minutes and I'll save you goodbyes. Oops.
29.
Pause that. I'll grab that. And I'll save me goodbyes out in the peanuts while we're watching this. Sunflower Earth has got excited about a broken Foucault's pendulum. Here is a working one.
No.
I can see where you're going with this one, Wolfie.
Showed the returns, and he didn't have to get off the planet to do it. Good thing, because in 1851 there was no such thing as rocketry yet. Now, of course, we've got astronauts who have been in space and looked at the Earth turning. That's certainly proof of its own. So, yeah, Foucault pendulum, what an awesome exhibit to start your visit with. Lots to see. There's these two hallways. There's 2 levels below. As you wander around, feel free to ask questions. Does its change during the seasons as we So, really, the perspective that's important here is just its orientation to the Earth's axis. So, the fact that the Earth is changing seasons doesn't affect this experiment. Yeah. We should be close to that second one going down. Glad you're up.
Thanks. Hello.
Sure.
So what do you say to the people who believe the Earth is flat?
Well, certainly the Foucault pendulum is one of the great tools that can be used to prove that you are moving across the surface of a curved, spherical, rotating object.
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
Yeah, I mean, there's no escaping and it's fairly simple math behind it.
Yeah,
so you don't
absolutely.
necessarily even need to be, an advanced math person to grasp that.
Absolutely.
It can be shown in fairly simple terms.
Perfect, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, there you go.
Yep, there you go.
I don't know how many videos is out there of actually videos of where you can watch the Foucault pendulum actually process. I don't know if we've got as many over here, but I know I've seen some from the Northern Hemisphere side.
Yeah, there's plenty all over the place, isn't there?
Okay, better stop your sharing. Put you back there. I've cleaned up everything on mine. My mum bakes cake. Well, I called it something else on my stream. Oh, well, I think that's your lot. That'll do. Till next time. Well, thanks, Mr. Farmer's boy. Thanks, Terence Tower.
Thank you.
Did I pronounce that right this time?
You did. That's well done.
Thanks, Big Blue.
Thank you, Terry.
Carl bakes cakes. Judy, Brian, Joe, Thurston. Oh, Farmer's Boy's out there. What are you doing out there?
I'll get about.
Brainery. Did I say Judy? Irish Stew. Anamorphic. Yeah, Brainery, you get a shout out twice because I've seen you twice. Factory. Facty. I haven't spoke to Facty for a long time. Biggest Doggers. Brian Stevens again. Clive, don't forget Clive. We had a George Prout. Did I give him a spanner? I hope he subbed. You'll lose your spanner if you didn't. Oh, Zebulon. M-Ball. Who have I missed? Truth Nerds. No, that's as far as I go. I don't know if Judy was there or Dora. I can't remember. Anyone
Judy
see
was
Dora?
there.
Or Judy was there. Well, shout out to
Yeah.
Judy. I don't know about Dora though. I don't know if Dora was in.
I don't think I saw Dora.
Oh, okay. We'll ask her next time. So where were you? Bring a note from your mum. Okay then. Well, thanks panel, thanks Peanuts, and good night for now, and we'll see you in the next one.
Good night, Peanuts.
Any words of wisdom?
No.